go so fast, all tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my mom life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now.
open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me can make me
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to see, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a, yeah.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found. but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Just stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares through. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you. Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. Going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet, hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella loved. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart, yeah. I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing. We're flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart so full. I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive. We're just listening. We're existing. We stay when the music plays, and it stop below, and the people sway.
A little bit of light, a little bit of gold. Under pressure, you start to fold like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I leave them with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me use my mind right. Use my mind right. Use my mind right.
We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down.
Hello PUBG Esports fans. PUBG Continental Series 3, our very last global PUBG Esports event for 2020, kicks off on November 5th, and like its predecessors will feature a Pick'em challenge full of hot new rewards. This Pick'em challenge begins on October 28th for PC, or the 29th for console players, and lasts for 3 weeks, closing on November 19th, right before the final week's match begins. During this time, you can check out real-time tournament standings, information on participating teams, and player stats in the Esports tab in-game. You can also get some information on how teams performed from regional qualifiers, and even which players to put your eyes on. So get the information you need here and increase your chance to win. As before, the challenge has 2 events, Pick the Winner and Team Face-Off. Pick the Winner lets you predict the overall winners from each region. Placing a vote here requires a voting coupon, and you may only vote for each team once. Successful predictions will earn you 100,000 EP per region, for a maximum possible 400,000 EP and bragging rights if you manage to guess them all. Voting coupons can once again be obtained by purchasing PCS3 items, up to a maximum of 14 coupons. You can also get a free coupon by watching PCS3 live streams, which we'll get into in a moment. As always, your purchases directly support our great teams, with 25% of PCS3 item profits distributed to teams across the 4 regions. Profits will be split between supplementing the overall prize pool and being distributed equally among participating teams. Show your team spirit and increase your chances to win by picking up the new PCS3 gear. Our second game is Team Face-Off, a free way for you to earn EP by picking the winner between 2 rival teams. You can make a pick for each face-off without any coupons or purchase necessary. EP prizes here are once again weighted based on how many votes each team has gotten. Voting for the underdog may be risky, but it also might just earn you up to 7,600 EP if your team claims victory. We've added a small quality of life update this time around as well, letting you see how many voting coupons you have and which teams you voted for in the event summary page. You can now also claim all your rewards at once, making life a bit easier when you win big. Want to earn your free voting coupon and some EP? Pay close attention during PCS3 live streams. If you see a code pop up, enter it in-game quickly. Doing so will earn you your 1 free voting coupon for the tournament. Easy, right? Well, as long as you're faster than everyone else. You can also add some additional EP to your wallet by watching for Twitch drops and quizzes. Twitch drops are now available on both console and Steam accounts. To participate, make sure your platform, Twitch, and PUBG accounts are all linked, and watch PCS3 on Twitch. You can get started easily by visiting accounts.pubg.com and logging in or creating your PUBG account if you haven't already. From here, you'll have easy access to link your accounts. Once linked, you can earn up to 30,000 EP just by spending time watching the PCS3 action live on twitch.tv/PUBG. Finally, just like PCS2, random quizzes will sometimes appear during the PCS3 broadcast on the PUBG Global Esports Twitch channel. Answer some questions right, and you'll get some EP. Now that you've earned a ton of EP, you can purchase your various PCS3 exclusive items from the esports shop. You can claim your earned rewards starting November 24th and can spend EP in the esports shop until December 9th. PCS3 is starting up soon, so now's a great time to do some research and plan out your strategy. All 4 PUBG regions are participating, and the more you watch, the better your odds of scoring unique skins for your own matches. We know it's been a tough year for many, but you've helped make 2020 a great year for PUBG Esports, and we're excited to close it out with our best tournament yet. PUBG Esports, PCS3, and the Pick'em Challenge. Get in on the action today.
Молодого тачки! Нас едут.
В вас реально. Будку. Хае приготовить. Приехал справа! Еще приехал ластовый.
Меня резать можно, брат. Можно резать меня.
Все окей, выдохни, брат. Выдохни.
Still might be 2 guys in compound on green.
I'm ready to crush it.
Can we
Let's
go?
crush it together, guys.
We're gonna go all the way east and just take.
Yeah, we should go there. We should go there. Keep these guys away from us.
Okay, we are reaching the green, right?
Yeah.
No, they're going left. They're crashing us.
One right,
I'm
one
going
left.
left side. I'm going left side.
Middle check, middle check.
I'm on you guys. I'm healing.
Knock, middle check. He's knock.
Nice, nice.
Knock me inside.
Inside, in front of me. Mine shot.
Two inside.
Yeah.
Not two.
Knock one.
You're gonna kill me.
Едут по берегу. 3 в одной тачке.
Апекс разбился один.
Один разбился.
Где они? Один из нас.
Прям за ангаром. Меня пытаются добить. Лоу. У меня.
Я кидаю прям в тебя, хуя.
Он накидывает что-то.
За тачку?
Слева. Фургоном, да. За ангару бежал. Выходит, пикает. Не пикает. Диди порез, я похилюсь.
Угу.
Вместе разыграйте, не спешите.
Я резаю.
За боксом стоит также, за боксом.
Окей.
Я справа. Я выпрыгнул.
Let's go.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Here's PCS3 Europe as we're going to get down and dirty with all the PUBG action. Once again, welcome back. It's good to be back. It feels like ages ago since we were here last weekend, bringing you all of the action here from the European Grand Finals. My name's Kyle Lawrence, your host, and joined, as always, it's Team AFK here at the desk, bringing you all of the action. I've got Avenger, I've got Froz, and we are happy to go. Avenger, it's been a little while. How are you faring?
It's been a week. I don't know. I think time moves the same for you and me. I don't know. It should be somewhat the same. You know, about 6 days ago we seen each other. No, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling somewhat weird sitting in here between you guys because I remembered that we're now soon at the end of 2020, and when we started all this online broadcast, I actually bought a camera. So I had have a better webcam instead of what I have now. And you guys, you got it really quickly, and I've actually had it laying around for like 4 months. So I'm feeling really bad about that I invested in that and haven't set it up yet. So I better get that going maybe for tomorrow, maybe for next week.
Ah, you got to catch up on the quality. You know what we've done? We've realized this isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. We're going to keep doing these online broadcasts, apparently. How are you doing, Frost?
I mean, it's always good to be back as well, getting to see what's going to happen this weekend. But I mean, it's been a lot of PCS, of course, from other regions as well to watch, and it's been great to been watching all of them.
Yeah, definitely. I even got an opportunity to stay up a little bit late last night, watch some North America. That was good old fun. But we're here in Europe. Let's focus on what we've got at hand right now. It's our top 16 fighting around the world, mostly in Europe, against one another. And so far, so good for our top teams. However, Martin, last weekend was very, very different in terms of results that we were expecting, I suppose, coming out of the first 2 days.
Yeah, and on top of that, like if you asked anyone, I would say anyone that watches a little bit of PUBG, what 3 teams do you think is going to be in the top 3? I think nobody would have predicted this exact top 3 to be not only like this in the one or in the first, second, and third place, but these specific 3 teams. Nothing against them, but these 3 teams have shown such an amazing performance, and it's insane to see how well they have been able to get ahead. Also winning 2 chicken dinners each in 8 out of the 8 matches here is really, really impressive how well they've been doing so far.
Yeah, for us, TSM and Team Liquid towards the later stages of all of these wins going elsewhere were able to fight back. However, you've still got some names like FaZe, Ents, Na'Vi down on the right-hand side of our standings here so far, which, for all things, all purposes considered, you wouldn't really expect them to be there. We're expecting the fight back to come from them as well.
Yeah, I mean, of course you would expect that, but at the same time, we only played 2 days, so 2 days in a row. So not too much time to just adapt on the fly and make sure that, okay, let's look on things, how do we fix that? They were basically just playing the game, even though it didn't work, they would just keep on doing that because changing up might have been even more of a catastrophe for them. But one team that we saw change things up was, of course, TSM from day 1 to day 2. Day 1, they were pretty much just staying. When they were inside the circle, they would just stay until the circle, they were outside the circle. that's when it started to move. Like, if they were inside for 4 circles, they would stay inside for 4 circles and then move. If they were inside for 2, they would stay for 2. But in day 2, we saw them being more proactive. They changed things up straight away, making sure that they move before the circle is forcing them to move. And that's kind of what I'm looking for from teams like FaZe, Na'Vi, all of the teams that is on the right-hand side right now, that we haven't seen made these kind of changes yet to the normal playstyle they play. And it's not working out for them right now, so hopefully something will happen here today.
Yeah, of course. And when you bring up a name like TSM, of course, in the previous weekend, they were a little bit handicapped. As we got a rare interview with Vard, and he was telling us about how he trapped his finger in a door. But they were able to make a recovery, and I think that they'll continue on with that kind of recovery here, Martin. All things considered, I mean, probably no longer handicapped in terms of having his finger hurt quite a bit, and just a great squad in general.
Yeah, and I would say it just looked like a blue nail, but like if you close your finger in the door, it might have well chopped off or something like that. So I would say him being somewhat lucky, but still able to compete here, and they were able to do well. Also very nice to speak to Vard. Very great interview from him actually. Let's hope we get more of those also with some of the other guys. But yeah, I'm expecting them to do well. But then again, we've had, last week we were looking at 8 games, and we have 6 games going with the way of 3 teams we probably didn't expect to do that well. So I'm really looking at the kind of the improvements you can see with the teams having 5 days off and then going into this weekend here to see some of these changes from some of the teams that we know are extremely good at adapting from week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of our top teams right now coming in from last weekend. I get to bring them up. It's Tornado Energy, Patrick, in first place right now here with 2 chicken dinners, and it does look like the Tornado Energy that we enjoy watching. They're going out, they're getting big numbers of kills, and then from that, they're converting it into those 2 chicken dinners as well.
Yeah, and we heard in the interview with them last week that what they actually did, like, they kind of changed the game a little bit. They kind of copied the NLT kind of style where they would have one guy scouting a lot, but not just copying it, but also adapting it to their own play style. So that's what you kind of want to do. If someone already has a good strategy that could suit your play style, you want to steal that and you want to make it a little bit better and suiting for you, because then, I mean, you don't need to do the hard work because that's already done and you just go ahead with it. And that's kind of what they've done, and I really like that kind of approach from them.
Yeah, especially, I think especially in a region like Europe, Martin, I think the VOD review to that degree, to be able to take ideas and concepts away from other teams that might look really good and then assert them in your own play, I think is super strong when, the talent is so deep in this region. There's lots of ideas you can be taken away from other teams.
And also the maps are so big. Like I talked to a few of the guys and played with a few of the guys the last couple of weeks, and they're saying, sometimes you might even go into a game and you've never played this specific ending in that area. Like, so terrain knowledge comes down to also VOD reviewing other regions and just in general getting as much knowledge, because we're playing on a map that has, 30, 40, 50 square kilometers of terrain that might have a dip and a divot. And that's where I really love to see, these teams taking not only play styles, but also positions to play throughout the game, both late game and also mid game, places to scout from and stuff like that. And you just see it improving from week to week, and that might end up making a new meta, a new kind of play style, and that's where I really see teams like Liquid there. They're trying, especially in the group stage, they're trying to come up with new patterns, new routes, because they're one of the teams that are really looked after, where teams are looking at them and saying, we know that Liquid is going to play this specific spot at minute 350 on a Western Circle, so let's try to gatekeep them, or let's try to get some points from it, and that's where they have to try to invent themselves and try to invent some new routes, because otherwise you're gonna get countered and counter meta as well.
Yeah, completely agree, especially for an example like Team Liquid, who now has a strong digital athletics to deal with on things like Miramar, sometimes to a certain degree Erangel as well. But let's talk about Northern Lights. They're currently sat in 2nd place here, Froz, and aside from a 15th place, they're back to old form as well. They got 2nd place in the group stage. They're 2nd place currently in the grand finals, and it was a 1st, 6th, 15th, ignore that bit, 1st, 4th, 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 6th. It's ridiculous how consistent they have been so far in the first 2 days.
I mean, they're also one of the 3 teams who got themselves 2 wins so far. But what we see from them is they still kind of play their edge split kind of style. But compared to the other teams is that they kind of play it on the opposite side of where everyone plays it. A lot of times we're gonna see like a hard shift, and you're gonna have a lot of teams trying to rotate for that hard shift and going to the other side where the hard shifted towards. While NSC, they would kind of like stay towards their side, make sure they want to play somewhere where there's not a lot of teams, and that's where they thrive because they take so much ground and they be able to just scout out, make sure they have a lot of map control, and got just tons of times to make a decision on how to play the next circle and how to approach the game itself.
Yeah, and it feels like all components, Martin, of the Northern Lights roster are really working on overdrive right now. Lou as well, obviously having his name changed, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that he was fragging out alongside the rest of his squad here.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm completely fine with the name change, especially if it's faster to say instead of the deep, you go Lou. And so when you have to call someone or you have to go Lou, then it's much like it's just better in general. You know, smoother communications is always a nice idea, and if that's the name change for, I'm not sure.
Yeah, other teams that are doing well so far, Digital Athletics. Now, I previously mentioned them before here. I'm going to stick with Martin here for a moment because them bringing in Code Marco, we've gone over it time and time again. He's a fantastic addition to the team, but it seems to have unlocked Digital Athletics as well. And what we've seen in the past 2 days of gameplay, as well as in the groups, they are playing on that kind of LAN setting. So that's always going to be a little bit of an advantage, I feel, for them in terms of the swift and flowing communication.
Yeah, but I also kind of want to say, yeah, I want to dive into something as well, because I know that they have Sixmo with them as well. So they basically have a fifth guy helping them both with calls on site. He might be sitting, in comms with them as well. He's sitting watching one of the players or standing behind them with a headset as well. So that helps them a lot. I could be worried going into the future, someone some years down the line or some months down the line when COVID is over and stuff like that, they will probably not be able to bring him. So I don't want them to depend too much on him right now, so that once we go back into LAN tournaments where coaches might not be allowed with a headset behind them, standing behind them and kind of helping them, because he could be making a lot of calls. I feel some of the calls that is being made with them making these really good macro rotations in third and fourth circle into the center, that could be some Sixmo calls. But then also with the addition of Code Marco and like their fracking abilities, it's just insane. Yeah, it's good to see them being able to play so well.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is a good point indeed. And also, guys, at home as well, you can be involved in the Pick'em challenge that is currently ongoing, and you can redeem the code below me to get yourself voting coupons. Now, do bear in mind, this has a limited amount of uses, so you're going to have to be quick to redeem that code. I'm sure people in the chat are going to copy it and then do what you need to do with it, and that's all going to be good. I'm weirdly lagging. That's interesting. Woo. But anyway, we're just a moment out of Miramar before we get into this. Patrick, what are we thinking here for Miramar?
I mean, for Miramar, there's a few teams that has been doing exceptionally good that we're going to be looking forward to. It's going to be Omak and Tornado, NLT, and Digital Athletics.
Right.
I will keep an eye out for those teams coming into this game here.
All right, let's get to it. It's our first game of the day. Sims and Pansy, bring us the game.
Absolutely love to, James. And yeah, it's good to kind of the lay of the land brought out to us very early there, Rich. Excuse me. Patrick said it very well. You've got, God, I am dying. Omakan, Tornado Energy, a couple of names that have really stood out to us, specifically on Miramar, bear in mind. Now, it has shifted a little coming in towards the likes of Erangel, but we have seen them going pretty hard early on. I mean, the points coming in for Omakan were insane. The kill points alone were very impressive. Now then you look to something similar from Tornado Energy. These teams absolutely frag out here. Now, if anyone else can join them, we've got a bit of a, I don't know, more competitive lobby. Northern Lights, maybe. Throw them in there. If we see a good Northern Lights, I'll be happy. Rich, have you muted yourself? I think Richard's dead.
Oh, okay, so I have muted myself. That is completely and utterly my bad, and I do apologise. Sorry about that. I'm talking away about what I'm seeing on the map at the moment with Team Liquid and Northern Lights going above them and not realising I actually muted it in-game as opposed to my my Go XLR.
Nice,
so apologies for that one. It's, we're all allowed. It's the first time I've actually done it on broadcast. So
no worries. You pulled it, James.
There we go. We can. I mean, yeah, I suppose. He knows the same pain as I do because it's just an easy mute button. He has the same pain.
But we have a good circle, Rich. We have that nice kind of westerly circle, which does tend to be quite a fun game. We see that one big slice down the middle of all of it, obviously away from that western cliffside that does kind of pose for a good game. And looking at the teams who have early shots at this, we have Omakan in there, we have Tornado Energy, and well, obviously FaZe, DA, and the Sauna Boys, and obviously not forgetting Na'Vi.
Something like this, where you're expecting it more towards the southern side, it's good for an abundance of teams that don't have to stray too far. You would have had other ones that have had a lot more room, so to speak, but a bit more of a wider rotation if you were looting somewhere around the north, or even specifically the northeast. There aren't too many. We have seen a Campo Militar drop more recently, so there are a few teams that could have been on the worser end of this one. It is going to be highly condensed more on that eastern side, which is rather problematic if you are wanting to do a bit of a death run. If you have it coming across straight from the east, from like Los Leones, it depends what kind of road you want to take or routes you want to be taking. For most teams, they will avoid those main roads. You've seen what happens when we go to a coastal side. If you're running the coastal roads, there's usually entrapments set up, people that are going to be camping out with the cars on the hillside. You probably still will get a team or two that want to take it all the way down to the south and just run it past Valdemar. You get the odd team now and again that does like to do it. It can be a bit treacherous, but you'd probably anticipate a lot of teams setting up early. And this is just with how this circle is, because you've got so much of that western cliff face in play here. I mean, hell, we can look at this circle, Lauren, and instantly say 25-30% of it, it's unplayable. So already this is going to condense teams down and force them to move early and try and stake their claim, get a good position on this map, because it's going to be highly contested when you arrive to here. There is very limited room for maneuver, and honestly, it even forces, because of where the circle, of how this circle is, you don't have a western path to rotate into. It is totally blocked off, so your options are going to be quite limited.
No, and I see that example that you bring up perfectly in the likes of DA moving quite early. Yes, they were somewhat in the circle. They're obviously the ones who loot very near the likes of Liquid and Picardo. But DA have gone, you know what, we may suffer on the loot front, but positioning is going to be king in this. And if we get a good stake of ground, that's perfect for us. So DA very swiftly moving prior to Team Liquid. Now that's saying something. Look at, they can take their time a little bit. They can dabble wherever they feel. But DA have opted to go early, so they're kind of shifting near towards the likes of FaZe and maybe the Sauna Boys, in between Omakan. So Chumacero will be towards their east. So they get a very good early spot. Now, FaZe, if they're not too sure of who's around them, could fall foul to the Sauna Boys potentially, as I think Nookie's on his own, but could still be a problem. He's going to hear the buggy now, well aware of it, and he goes to Peacock. He's deciding to take a couple of shots at this. Maybe not a bad idea. You can see they are more warning shots than anything, just to be like, hey guys, give me a second. Let me just get that last bit of loot and I'll leave. Just give me a moment. There is the bike pulled up. You can just about see it there. So this is what I was saying about DA. Moving prior to Liquid, they did get to start on the western side of Picardo as such. They do have the easier approach. So Liquid not going too far. It seems that they're going to be starting their scouting quite early, keeping tabs on this, because they know there's going to be a lot of teams around this area very early on.
Nookie's going to be forced to run away from this, and that's because FaZe are making the aggressive push. Now, remember, FaZe, they come into this competition in 12th position. All right, we're not even halfway through this competition yet, but it's certainly not a reminiscent place of what we kind of hold FaZe to. They have to do a lot of work to be able to claw these points back and get up towards that top 3, that top 4 spot. No wins in the bag yet. I think out of the top 6, it's only Omakan who've yet to get a chicken dinner to be able to solidify themselves, everyone else with a little bit of a gold medal up there. But it's still a massive statement when you have 3 teams that are on multiple wins, 2 apiece between them at the top 3. You jump again through Omakan, but still, it does set a statement that these wins are going to be making points, and a lot of these teams are capitalizing when they get to those end circles. They're not just standing by idle. They're not just waiting for the circle to come to them and then hope that everyone's dead on arrival. They will third party. They will get involved. They will take as many... They won't take fights directly on, but they will get involved if the timing is right. If there's opportunity to steal points away from them, they're going to do it, because this point gap, if you're down below, at the moment, 10th position, and over the next 2 days, if you stay down below 10th position, you ain't going to win this. There's just not going to be enough maps to play when we get to that final weekend. So everyone this weekend that is probably 7th place below the 50-point mark, in my opinion, has a hell of a lot of work to do. With only 4 games a day, it can run away with you very, very quickly.
No, and I think this sort of format favors those who consistently frag out. Maybe not consistently place, but those who can on a regular basis, you know, but be it just on Miramar even, but they can get points in the bag. Now, I guess you want to, I guess that goes into more of a meta discussion, which we can come to, but a quick kill for Fex, that was far as you like as well. Next, you're going to be feeling that. I don't think a flush is available, as you can see the hillside, but if Vard keeps going... Oh, Vard, this is maybe a little bit too much here. James is going to wait for this. As soon as you get out, you're dead as anything. Yeah, a little overextended there, Vard. A little thirsty maybe for... I don't know if it's positioning or what, but... Yeah, James can just hit the deck, wait for support. Miraku could be his downfall. A quick smoke to try and create bit of a barrier, but, well, there is no physical element to that barrier. It is just a smoke, so the shots of the nades will do just fine, as Miraku is going to find James, and now suddenly Liquid looking a little rough around the edges. Support did arrive, and it looks like James might just sacrifice himself to get Mexi back on his feet here and buy a little bit of time for those rotations.
As soon as the knock came in, you just saw that the TSM player just snap and turn around on the bike and head up. Yes, it has, unfortunately, ended with him costing his life, but there is a response there is a trade. The question is it worth it? Other teams are going to start to realize the position on them. They're going to maybe make some ground. The rest of TSM have come across to this to try and rally the troops and get themselves together. Whether or not they just say, okay, this is a bit, you know, of a stretch too far, let's back off away and find somewhere else. We've already lost one. We don't want to commit more to it. It's a 50-50 question. It's what do? You got to listen to UIGL and kind of get the lay of the land. They're going to know that the opposing player that they did knock on Team Liquid now be back on his feet. So maybe the numbers are not necessarily in their favor as what they once anticipated. You know what? We've lost a player. Let's pull it back and regain ourselves. NLT will be pushing up onto this compound because they do know one of the Sauna boys is down. But look at the covering fire from Spyro across the road. All the information is being fed back to Batulins, and they've essentially just completely stopped this revive coming through and taken the compound for themselves.
They have. They could do with this kill, though. Batulins really wants this one. You can see him pushing for it, and, well, the Sauna boys on the other side getting fire coming in from FaZe. So nothing too nice, and we kind of expect this when we see this circle. It forces early fights for this more kind of sought-after ground. But Batulins does have to be a little bit cautious, because, well, FaZe could definitely see the Sauna boys, so they could probably see Northern Lights. So, yeah, there we go. A couple of bits of shots going. I think Uber connecting one, and it's Uber to deny as well. This is big from Uber. And if he comes online, if we get to see Uber in full force, that's a very different phase. Now, I don't know what you have to do to get Uber, you know, going that far ahead. But if you get it, you get points. It's instantly locked in. But keeping track on the circle as well, it is going as expected. Everyone filtering through, opting for most of the late teams coming in the northern approach because it's seemingly the less desirable. But another kill, and it's from another team. That's Shift W. This is showing how compacted this area is. It is going to be rife.
Seeing ETG out in the field, so we're just wandering into this fight, but they decided to back off, and I think that's because Shift W in the distance is peppering a few bullets, and they realize it's a very open area to be pulling up on. If they wanted to get themselves in that fight, it could cost them their lives rather easily. Hence, they will decide to fortify themselves between two different compounds, but WS on the very obscure rotation, they've gone up down on the east side, and more through a northerly approach, but by doing so, they've just landed basically in front of Ents accidentally. Two of them will fall back. Diggory is left behind to pepper away and try and keep WS at bay, while Ents finds a better home, to be honest with you, a better place to try and fortify themselves and stand their ground. Tornado Energy down the foothills of FaZe Clan. Not the best place in the world they want to be, but certainly it's inside the circle, so they're going to be rather happy. And this is where, now with the circle, it's been quite kind. It's not left too much of that western cliff face in. If it had, it had been a very prominent circle. You could look towards that mountainside and say, okay, now Ladrilla's been pushed out here. We all know where this is going to end. Let's all just dive bomb at the foothills of that mountain and hope for the best and see how we can survive. By doing it and going more towards the middle, actually pulling out a bit of the western cliff face, you do have this option of opposite the road. So basically the one that goes from Monte Nuevo all the way down to the bottom and cuts it through to Omicum. You can now pick which side of the road you want to be on. A lot of teams have banked on the left-hand side, on the hillside, but it could quite easily jump towards TSM, towards Team Liquid. And then all of a sudden, you've got a big old dash across the road and a bit of a death race if you want to get to the opposing side.
Yeah, I want to see what teams do with this. I don't think many have to really move. It looks like Shift W are the main team right now looking for their next option. It does mean they fall slightly closer towards TSM, which could mean that either Fex falls back or Iroh and Miraku just play a little cautious. It looks like Iroh's getting quite inquisitive about it, considering the mini's out and he's looking that way just fine. he does have the plateau to work with, which, you know, double-edged sword. Yes, it's harder to see the teams if they get to the very foot of the hill, but you do get vision and some part of safety. Iroh, that could have been sick. I thought that might have been him plucking in midair, but actually it was a little bit of help from further afield. ETG getting a good couple of shots as well coming in towards that. So kill your guy dead. Now, again, Shift W were the main movers in this circle, though. As soon as that adjustment came in, they were the ones straight on the vehicles, kind of moving like a little east and then just hitting south. So let's watch this one back if we can. Have a little look on this one. Kiliakai up in the air. Boom, boom, boom. See you later. Iroh sharp today. Very nice indeed. But beyond that, I don't think too much movement should happen at this point. I feel as though, once again, most people are in a somewhat safe area, and we're looking to see if it hard shifts. If this moves and cuts a large amount of the, you know, the teams out of the circle, then we're going to have those fights. And Chris is about to run the same sort of gauntlet we just saw from Kiliakai, and it has shifted north. Now, that's not, again, too much of a bother. It may put you in a subpar position on maybe that western side. You can see a couple of those houses there. Na'Vi might have to go, well, it's our best bet. We can't come into that middle slice late. Not going to work. Montenuevo still available if you're in, you know, a bit of a desperate scenario.
That's the best way to cut it, right? Monte is going to be that last-ditch attempt. You just want to get in here. You just want to survive and get as close to the center point of the circle as possible. Then you're going to do it. WS can, bit of a hot skip and a jump for them. They can cross the road and dive in and go to the houses front forward. You have that like little arena area that you can kind of tuck behind. They should do that with TSM on the plateau up top above them on the oil cylinders. It becomes a lot harder for anyone else getting out of Montenuevo. They can strangulate all the teams and just pepper so much bullet and so much damage into anybody who wants to try and claw the side of their hill. For everyone else, it's a full-blown send. DA are doing DA things, and somehow they've managed to make it work.
Nice
is it
position.
fragile? Is
Very
it
nice.
minuscule? Yes, it absolutely is, but look at how central that point is. They are kings of
High
the
ground
mountain, and
too.
they've joined the ranks of everybody else. I'm surprised they've managed to do it. Team Liquid will be the next ones to try and follow them. They can't go as far upside the hill, but you know what? The garage compound, the large structure will be more than enough for now. It is on that backside. There is going to be a bit of land that they have to traverse to get up and over the hump as you go into Montenuevo and across to the other side. Ira does fall down. We need to make note of that. Offstring sees him. This was the back build from WS. I didn't realize Ira was down low. I thought he was up top with everybody else.
He was.
Maybe he was
initially
last of the party, or so he's actually wandered down here to try and keep a track on these guys, and it's cost him his life there.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the case. And again, yes, Vex has got back in, but the res on Iroh will be tricky, and it might mean that they give up the high ground there, which, again, you've got to kind of consider, is this the optimal way to do it? It looks like they're in the vehicles. I see Vex in the vehicle, so maybe they're willing to sacrifice to get him back on his feet. Shift W trying to keep things together. Now they've thrown themselves into it. Miraku pulling up, upside down, turned around, but it's Vex with the cover. Lovely work from Vex, keeping his buddy safe, doing everything he has. But now Miraku instantly falls. Big trade from Kemba, and now suddenly TSM worse for wear. 2 HP is all that's left with Vex, and he was the player who stuck to the high ground. If the other teams know this and they can work out where they might be, that's very vulnerable. Now, that could be stolen away.
It was a very valiant effort to be able to get that knock initially on the one player to support him, and then unfortunately just goes down with the amount of people that are going to be throwing their bodies at the walls. Omicron, they'll be the last ones to try and make this happen. Excuse me, no, bystanders are directly behind them in the blue, and they may be following this same path, so we'll have to keep an eye on this area because it's going to be littered and scattered with players. Na'Vi, Northern Lights on the opposing side, the
Na'Vi on
Sauna
land.
Boys up top. Omicron are going to be firing into this one as well, but the bystanders will be coming behind Na'Vi, and there is nowhere for them to go. So the question is, one, do they fight off against Na'Vi, or do they just become a distraction? Do they just become a point of interest that Na'Vi have to deal with first? Well, Na'Vi's inside the circle, so they absolutely do. They need to take this fight, and they need to clear the bystanders out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we saw DA playing together, I believe, in a similar area, whether it be, you know, in a LAN environment or not sure, but it looks like Tab, Senya, and Besto are all together as well, so this could be a big performance from, Na'Vi, look at that, completely destroying the bystanders. These guys are taking this serious. This is a big commitment as well, considering the state of the world. If they're going to get together, you know, take it as safe as they can be, and they're going to really commit to this, this could be a big move from them. Now, again, we'll see if this comes through with any more, you know, results, but Na'Vi do control the west. Yes, it's the southwest, but it's still the big portion of it. Omicron getting curious, but let's look at Clib. This is Liquid trying to maintain that lower ground position we noted. Yes, it's not the prime spot, but it was central, and it's kept them in to this circle as well. With Vex pulling up, they're well aware. Clib seems very much on board, but Clib's been a monster. This is a big fight between two big dogs as well. Keep in mind, Fex has been an animal for TSM, but not today. He's not allowed any of that chance. Liquid instantly push out as a squad. You got Ibby moving, and you had Clib getting the attention, and Mexi holding the wide swing. I like that. Does give away their position, so DA going to be keeping note of that. You can imagine DA now taking notes of, okay, we've got Liquid here, we've got Shift W here. They know who's around them now.
Ponies will try and cross the road and maybe reach Team Liquid, at least the compounds that are just going to be scattering to the backside of it. But as you mentioned previously, DA holding the high ground and also get on top of the buildings and get involved in this one. 2 knocks back-to-back denies the res. That's 2 possible points if they can just keep both players idle at the opposing side, even if they just deny them and kill them across the road. It's going to be beautiful. But look at this. Team Liquid, they don't want to share this compound. They don't want none of it. Now, they may not realize fully that everyone's down here. If they can go for, if they do and they just want insta flushes, fair play, but they have to be very careful. They've already lost 1 person. With a 3-man stack,
not a free cross.
Again, they're just going to be giving away information. The cleaner cross would be to move towards WS's side because that would obscure them from vision. But again, easier said than done. At least they now have the information of where DA has set up, and at least they now know a point of contact where they shouldn't be going towards.
Yeah, it looks like WS are already preoccupied with the pink ponies pulling in, trying to be subtle, but Kemba's seen it all. Sees everything, sees the 2 players, but decides not to shoot just yet. Does have 3 nades and Molly, could do whatever he pleases, but maybe just keeping track is more than enough. Doesn't want to go individually, wants to call over the gang, and that's what's happened. The Wanderer's here now, everyone's coming over. But they're going to be held a little accountable to these guys. They can't switch their attention elsewhere, and they'd probably like to worry about the actual circle. But they know there's a time limit with the pink ponies, so maybe they can wait this out and catch them on the way in. Mexi getting curious, but not pushing too far. Maybe just ensuring that, hey, they don't wrap around that more south eastern side. For now, their offspring still patrolling around the rocks looking for them, and it looks like Vampire is looking up as well. There's the first bit of contact, and now they both know they're kind of screwed here. This is about timing, and for WS, you want to secure your way forward as well as getting these 2 kills, because without them, you're going to have a team in your back, which is not what you want already, though. Aim, low ground, finds a way through. Oh no, this is a problem. That's Rustamar. That's another team, and that's got Kemba very low.
It has, and he's got a very small window.
1 HP. Come off
As
it.
if you've managed to pull that off. That is disgusting. Senya's back on his feet because Navi regrouped. At least 1 player did. Pink Ponies are struggling. They've been strangulated by WS up on the hillside. WS are playing for these 2 points, but the question is it worth it? Is it really worth putting yourself behind all the enemy lines? Look at what Team Liquid has done. Just check that out on the map. While WS has been firing, they've worked their way up the hill. They now have to face off against Shift W. This will be a big battle.
Yeah, it will be. Clib leading the way. Ibby's there. First bit of noise made. They now know what's going on. Zoka and Braxco hit the deck, get themselves ready. Good damage initially. They want one of these kills quickly. Zoka's now going to have to hit the reload. They might just start pushing on this. Yeah, you can see Mexi testing the waters. Flash getting ready. Flash comes in. Zoka blinded, and you're going to see Braxco just keeping control of the window. He has to. There's now players absolutely everywhere. He takes down 1 with him. He needs more, though. Doesn't get more. That is all you're going to get from Liquid, but there's still Chris around. If he could find a way in, that could have been a different picture, but it wasn't to be. The rest going to come out. Does Chris find the timing to push? He's tempted. You can see the temptation beckoning. Molly to hand. Molly through the window. If that finds position, that's a problem. I don't think it's going to do as much as he'd want. No, it does find Mexi. It's found Ibby. Oh, dearie me. He set fire to the small little cabin, and Clib is so displeased. But now further problems. All the teams on the outskirts being crunched together.
He's bombarding them, Lauren. The flashbang's in. The arms up in the air. Peekaboo. Thank you, Chris. The big man himself stands the test of time with the molly onto 2 and the flashbang up in the air. The utility usage has been phenomenal. He has just manhandled Team Liquid, loses 2 players, then fights back, but still the onslaught will continue. WS is the next opponent. Can Chris continue this barrage of abuse? This would be phenomenal. Look at how he's using these mollies. It's just area of denial to put them into unreasonable circumstances that he can single them out 1 by 1 with a follow-up nade. Maybe he gets one. If he does, this would be just tragic.
For me, in the nicest way, Chris sometimes is his best when it's just him working. Now, whether or not he could maybe get a better vest or some more utility off all of those bodies, I don't know what Liquid was working with. It looks like he's got a boatload of smokes, and he's just going to try and build those walls. You're right. He used so much utility so well, but the nade You can't avoid it. It came in well. Offstring played it perfectly. Didn't risk it. Didn't go for the fight individually. Took the nade and went, yeah, that's the better option. Now, in the meantime, I do want to highlight that Na'Vi did make it across the road. I'm quite surprised. I thought it'd be the death of them. Trying to make that run probably would kill most teams, but somehow they survive. And Ivus, you gotta hit those, buddy. You don't get many freebies on FaZe.
Yeah, that's a bit of a wobble. I'm expecting one player to fall down, and by Ivus making a ton of noise, unfortunately, it's cost him his life. Sakura will see that one, and it's an easy frag, or at least a knock now. Svenja comes around the corner. The first one, nail up doesn't fall, but the damage is done. Instantly spins around, the pins are pulled. Look at that, 2 nades being cycled, up and over we go. Targets found, damage was done initially. Doesn't realize someone's hiding in the bush. Or does he? He sees him. Easy tag. He sees him. Easy tag. Second frag comes through, but now all of a sudden, Na'Vi, it's time to capitalize. It's time to join the fight.
Yeah, they have to push him. Besto needs to clear the last player. He's probably going to do it. Yeah, he does. Really well done. Maybe revival for Senya can come in. Maybe picking him up can come through. Redline is eliminated in 11th. We're down to 10 teams here. The Sauna Boys seem to withstand the barrage, but we see the new circle come through. Tornado Energy living in the shadow of DA right now. Mert on the low ground, keeping them humble. I like that. Good pressure to be applied, but he has to stay alive. Smash towards Gustav. That's a different fight altogether. This is the one they want. And Code Marco's finding form. This man is a danger. We haven't seen him come online yet, or at least I haven't for DA. If this is his time to turn up, we're in for a good, and don't try and be subtle with him. This man knows what's up. Breaks the vest, breaks the helmet, but he still stands. But he's got further problems to deal with now. The blue will be hurting in this. We're getting towards the late game. Na'Vi, though, are rolling. That LAN environment has brought them alive. 9 kills for these boys, and it looks like they could be having more. Do they take the fight on the Sauna Boys and Gemty battle? Or do they try and shuffle around? It looks like they're going to go, hey, why not a bit of A and a bit of B? But can they pull it off?
Buzzface is moving into the center side at least to try and find a better position. Sakura onto one, Gemty can go down. Na'Vi now knowing the information of what's going on here and potentially how many players are actually left. If they've been tracking it, they damn well will know this. But as you mentioned, like to have so many frags and actually management to be able to get people back on the feet and all 4 players at this stage of the game to be alive is phenomenal job. No trade off the back of Na'Vi just yet. All of a sudden, Besto, well, he finds FaZe. Kind of look at this. There's no communication. You should be looking this way, Uber. Your back is completely exposed. Onto Uber, onto Whitesea. Feeds all this back to Na'Vi. And again, as you said, Lauren, with the LAN environment, the communication should be absolutely thriving right now.
You know they're feeling it. You know they're pumped up. You give these boys that little bit of adrenaline, that little bit of additional focus, they start feeling themselves. But the fight is still to come. They have to leave the area they're in, and the high ground is not with them. They've got FaZe up against them, but DA taking on just about everyone, and DA's doing well. Finally lose out Metralis, but that's it. How many kills do these guys have? Because they have been doing well. I don't know if they've been getting the flushes, but they have been in constant fights here and in good positioning. They should be able to shuffle in. Offstream's probably going to be another victim that adds to their tally, as Na'Vi are up to 10 now. FaZe are on the chopping block. I thought Na'Vi might actually be in a subpar position trying to leave here, but no. They've done very well from this. And you do see Mert now being called off as well. It looks like DA's run might be coming to an end, even though they are currently in 2nd place. Northern Lights having to deal with the Finns over in the western side, but that's not just yet. That's still brewing in the background. But FaZe are in all kinds of bother. They are just pinned in.
Na'Vi's building a wall to them, if I'm not mistaken. They're literally just throwing the smokes in a direction. I've seen the nades cycling, so are they working their way to what? They've literally built a wall to FaZe to remove them from that position and maybe get behind that vehicle. They were outside the circle, it's taking it away from them. That is just disgusting work from Na'Vi.
I love it. If we're getting the god tier Na'Vi today, you got another team going right towards the top. We'll see though. Diggory going to find Spyro. This is that Ents fight that was going to be happening on the west towards Northern Lights. And actually, Ents have done very well in this. Perfectix, I think, is your last man alive for Northern Lights. Yes, he is. 1 kill as well. Not the game for Northern Lights. That's going to maybe cause a couple of problems if we see the likes of Na'Vi, DA, everyone turning up. Code Marco knocked though. These nades are being launched. Just, you know, Trebuchet's coming in, but doing whatever they can, and there's an Orm in play. Forever has that and finds Tixu. Any knocks at this point can cause bigger problems. You'd imagine the blue moving in. Pressure now mounting. We're down to 5, and Na'Vi are continuing the push. They want DA next. These guys are hungry. They are fragging today. Smash, he might get behind them. Hold the phone. Smash has nothing. No nades, vest, helmet, screwed, but he's seen a knock. He sees the Code Marco's down. He has to avenge him, and he's done so well. That's 1. He's got a 2nd. Smash is doing serious work here. And now 2, just tucked below, though. They're just below the lip. He can't see them. And Na'Vi, yes, they've dealt with the team in front of them, but now they've got further problems. Smash has caused a bigger threat than they imagined. And can he do more? Flash to hand for Senya. A little bit of a response. Smash still looking for a way down. Opts for the first route that's available. He finds one, but Tab turns it on a dime. Nice denial from the Tab. And now Na'Vi try and recover the pieces. They were left strewn across the battlefield. ETG, very quiet, but doing very well. They've got all 4 players alive. They've got great control on the map. They've got 3'd up gear. ENCE may not know what's coming their way. That is 2 3'd up guns on that side.
Yeah, this is the interesting with the Mark 14, the AWM. Fenderloss goes on to Na'Vi, and that kind of holds point on the back of them working their way downside the hill. An instant reply in the form of Senya, but it opts to dip away from this. And remember, body armor, helmets, things are going to be starting to be damaged. There's a fair amount of knocks on the side of Na'Vi, so it's something they have to be aware of. Their management, their gear, how many players they want to throw out of place, but still holding Fenderloss back there is phenomenal work. You can just leave the rest of ETG to focus fire onto ENCE. They know they are the bigger issue. Na'Vi, they're not inside the circle. They're the ones that have to do all the work to come down to them. They can wait this one out. ENCE, however, is a different story. ENCE have to push on the low ground, and by doing so, have to move into ETG. They can just wait. Honestly, they're inside the circle. They have a bit of a dip to work off the back of. Utilize this weaponry that you've got. You have the level 3 gear. You have the big boy crate guns. Put them to good use.
Okay, Na'Vi, I don't know what smokes they have left. This is the thing. Now, they've opted to go towards ENCE's direction a little bit more, and you can see they've garnered the attention, but it's got Besto quite close. They have no smokes. I see nothing on Besto. A molly, an aid, sure, but he's just trying to be subtle, trying to be non-combative at this point. Get to that lower ground, maybe snake in, hit the deck, use that plateau to prone on potentially. Who knows what he can work with. Senya's offered himself up. That was just him going, look, I'll give you the best shot you can have, and now we're down to 2. ETG up against ENCE. We will talk about that Na'Vi performance in a moment's time, because that is something to remember. But a 4v3, ENCE, towards the end of the game here, 5 kills for ETG, and as we said, their gear is outstanding for ETG. This is high-end stuff. They've got all the bits and pieces. They've got all of the goodies. I don't know how you're going to fight against this. This is going to need some, rollback, some classic, some throwback ENCE performance. You need your Tixu to come online. You need your Ustamar to be doing some work, and they need to isolate one. And maybe Fenderloss is that one he can isolate, but they still need to win the fight. The nade is going to come through. Wait, hold on. Tixu's found forever. Let's go. Let's see what ENCE can do with this. They've already quelled the first threat, but look at the 3'd up gear. There's another. Oh, that could have been a big kill, and it is. There is still plenty to be seen here. Ustamar and Diggory still alive. This 1v1 could decide everything. Oh. Diggory's found another, and now it's just Diggory left with so much in front of him. Is this a 1v1? It is. Now, Diggory can pick up Tixu, but does he have the time? The blue will be on his back. There's points to be had, and he wants them. They are vital to this. 6 kills now for the 1v1 with Fenderloss. Now, I don't think Fenderloss had the 3'd up gear, but look at Diggory. He's shattered. There's not much to him. And Fenderloss is moving. He's getting closer. He wants to bring the fight in. Diggory now hits the reload. 16 bullets is all he's got left in that barrel. That is all he's got to play with. Fender way better geared in this. But who sees who first? Diggory looking a little too far to the right here. He might miss him. And Fenderloss using the low ground just right. Gets the first tag, but who gets the frag from this? Diggory, 39 HP, does have the stim on. Moves up, gets closer. Mini's all he's got now. He is not working in the way he'd want to, but the nade is looking good. Does it find him? Oh, 3 HP. Diggory refusing to die. Still staying alive. The Finn refuses to bow down. The molly being toyed with. Everything's being thrown at him. Hell, the kitchen sink just came past. But Diggory puts one back. He's going to force him out of cover. If he hits the shot, this could be exemplary, and it is! Diggory, you absolute beast!
How do ETG lose that? Like, they had to... I know they had not much hard cover as such, but I was expecting ENCE to be able to have to force them out of the position they were in. Instead, all of a sudden, Tixu just starts banging out players they come across, and they were cresting for him. Like, he was giving them... I have no idea. In my opinion, honestly, ETG should have stayed put. They had the weaponry, they had the armor, they had all the capabilities in the world to let Na'Vi really open up, maybe just annoy ENCE, draw them into fire, and then let ENCE make the first mistake. Instead, they decided to try and tackle it head on. They attacked ETG. ETG attacked ENCE, and it kind of fell apart. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's fantastic and phenomenal to see a 1v1. We all love to see it, especially for the very final kill. But I am surprised they lost that with how much utility and economy they had.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, we've got vintage Ents, a little glimpse of vintage Ents. Then that was the classic Finns, and we've also got potentially a high level Navi. I want to hear what the desk has to say. We've just found out a lot of information, guys. Break it down.
You're absolutely right. A barrage of information there, as both Ent and Etiquette really needed those points at the very end, and it came down to 1 HP. Very, very close. Diggory is able to win out the 1v1 in the end. I'm joined by Erangel and Froz here. Ent's getting themselves a win on the board here, Martin. That is big for them.
It is massive for them. They needed that as well. They were on the right side of the leaderboard as well, so it's great to see them stepping up with 9 kills as well. Massive clutch. I like that they both had the kind of same ideas. You see them starting out with, you know, throwing like starting to shoot at each other first, then starting to throw utilities at each other. So nice shot by Uber. That's why you see he's the mini master. But yeah, it was a really great end. Oh my god, he was really great into it, and overall just a really great game. I love these endings that are kind of throwing a curveball to the teams, not because I like to see the team suffer, but I like to see how they approach these kind of circles.
Yeah, especially since, of course, when we had the circle popping over on the west side here, Froz, there was always that moment in my head where I'm like, it's going to end at the top of that bloody hill, isn't it? But actually, it didn't end exactly where I was envisaging it going. And that opened up some room for some of these teams.
Yeah, it did open up a lot of room, and one of the teams that were there super early was, of course, Navi. We saw them playing on the southwest edge. They like to play the edge. That's how they play, right? But not only that, but they keep on playing their style, even though we saw that last week wasn't the best. They're keeping it up, but they're making small changes, making sure that, okay, are we in a position where we can actually take the fights and still moving later on? Because that was one of the huge issues they had last week. They always had to fight their way in. Well, there was not a big difference in this one, to be honest. They had to fight time after time after time. And we saw them, first of all, camp out bystanders that was coming in from the south side. And then they had to cross the road. They were forced to cross the road. And that was one of the biggest part of them getting that far into the game. They managed to crossing that road with Redline on the other side, holding them out, taking out Redline, and then keep on going, taking out Sauna Boys, of course, with a little bit of help from FaZe, but still. And they just kept on plowing team after team after team. Of course, we saw Smash almost did something about it. He got 2 knocks, but only one of them died from there.
And of course, my heart as DA had to fight Tornado Energy. That's unfortunate for me, I guess. But I think to kind of continue on this Navi thing for a moment here, Martin, is that we've already seen differences. We saw a huge amount of kills, but also importantly, we saw 3 of their players now on LAN, and that's going to be assisting them.
Yeah, that's going to help them a lot, but it's nice to see them already being together. You see here 1 HP as well. I think it's Orange that is still at home with other guys. I don't know if they had a friendly LAN party, they invited each other over, or if they've been set up for it. I think it's obviously that, but it's good to see that these guys are landing more. It looks like Digital have had a massive help from it, at least. And 4 teams with a double digit here.
Yeah, very nice. Digital Athletic all the way through to Ents with those double points coming in. 19 for Ents, 19 for Na'Vi, who were sweeping very effectively from that southwest edge, as you were mentioning here, Froz. Digital Athletics was kind of greeting people to them. They were kind of thinking that the circle was going to go kind of how I was thinking it was going to go, and they were able to dispatch of quite a few teams there. And Smash was some great plays too towards the end, as you previously pointed out.
Yeah, they were playing the high ground there, but we saw, of course, they were taking a lot of fights, and towards the end there, we saw Code Marco and Smash on the high ground, but none of them had anything to heal with, and they had to try to make something happen. We saw that Code Marco was essentially trying to take, kind of making sure everyone's shooting at him, taking attention, while Smash was just creeping around, going for that flank on the high ground, scouting out, saw 2 of Navi players, took those out, but he got shot down after that.
You can see the numbers being put up by some of the familiar names here from this game. Ents, of course, we haven't spoken about them too much, but they did win out this game here, Martin, and they were coming in from more of a northernly direction, eventually. Playing it kind of the Ents norm, the patience towards the end, and then working on the kills from there.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see them being in the north because we kind of expected the circuit to go south, right? So them being very lonely in the north actually worked out really well for them because there's so much space. There's so many teams expecting to go south. So there was this move really made them and enabled them to get this into this position here. So I was, and you might remember, I was sitting in the middle of the game, circle 3, and like, what are these guys doing up here? Like, it's up in the north. They're literally the only team there because it's gonna probably go south, and it worked out really well for them. So happy again to see. And kind of proud to see how well they're able to tackle this circle here because it was a rough one.
Yeah, and we're going to see later on how the standings are shaken up. But for now, we're going to go to a break. And when we return here, we're going to have our last game of Miramar. And then we've got 2 of Erangel. It's a good time here at PCS3. We'll see you in a few.
Sometimes on the battlegrounds, not everything goes as planned. Let's take a look at a few of those moments. Parachuting in. Same as usual, Martin. What's gonna happen here?
He's gonna go in and get some loot in the warehouse. No, first he's gonna do a front flip in the air. Nah, and he's gonna get
All right, what are we seeing? Find all the vehicles, get it out. Oh, another UAS. Another one now, Martin.
Yeah, and he's dropping some loot. Arnie needs to drop some loot. Yeah, Keen needs some more loot. Maminia needs some loot. And and he drove into him. Oh, he took damage from both of the cars. No, this is not the way to do it, Keen.
That is called poor coordination.
What? How does that even happen?
All right, so we remember the time where James had an interview with 17, the coach of Liquid, where they said, "Yeah, we're fine with having digital analytics loot close to us," and then stuff like this happened.
It doesn't seem like EB feels fine right now. Smash off the... Oh my lord. The Thralius picks him off, runs over the corpse for extra damage. That's... Ugh.
Oh no, that's... Spittle! Get in a flashbang! Spittle! Hit in the head! Spittle! Running away! DSM! Get in the bang bang! What's even going on? And that's it. You know, I will admit, I didn't expect them to include that particular take where I was just dicking about, just doing whatever, but we had a lot of fun recording some of those moments, so thank you very much, guys. Welcome back. We are here for PCS3 EU Grand Finals, and so far we come off the back of an ENTS victory in our first game. I'm joined by Avenger and Froz here to break everything down. So that's 1 game of Miramar down, 1 to go here, Froz, with ENTS getting themselves some nice points. They're going to be moving up slightly, but Na'Vi jumps up 6 places as well, now into 4th place.
Ooh, that's a big jump. And of course, we saw that last week. We had TSM jumping 8 places, and now Na'Vi jumping up 6. Kind of what we expect these 2 teams to be, but we still have some teams towards the bottom, like FaZe Clan. They are still down there, 13th place. And I mean, they don't have much more time to play like this. They got to do something right now. What we're seeing from them currently so far is they kind of take a compound, and either they just sit there and do nothing like in this game, or we see them trying to over-rotate kind of and just trying to go for center, and then just lose people. But they need to figure this out right now. What is happening? What is wrong? How do we work on this? Because this will not hold in the finals.
That's fair. I mean, approaching the halfway mark after the conclusion of today here, Martin, that's the danger zone at that point if you're maybe like 40, 50 points behind of first place, if you want to challenge for that championship, surely.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm kind of baffled. But then again, we did see Na'Vi one day have, in 6 games have like 3 wins, 3rd place and a 4th place, and really propel them ahead. But it's hard to do. Like, people are really competing hard at this moment. They have to step up soon, otherwise it's going to be rough for them. But then again, knowing them, they are going to do that. Like, we're going to see them, with a really good showing in either today or tomorrow, and they'll be in a kind of in a medium stage where they are able to maybe pounce at the top 5 again.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, again, how serious teams are taking this. This is the final opportunity in 2020 for these teams to put themselves like a proper championship on the board for PCS itself. And you already have, DA on that land setting. You've got 3 or 4 of Na'Vi on that land setting, getting themselves not necessarily the chicken dinner, but a huge amount of points in that previous game. And they're still kind of, trying to do a little bit of catch up here, Frost. So still a lot to play for, but still good opportunities for some of these teams. DA is now in 1st place at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, DA, once again, they have a good game. Even though they only get a 4th place, they had 9 kills on top of that. And that's what you kind of expect from DA nowadays. You expect them to have a lot of kills because we see them time after time trying to go for the fights. And they know that they are strong in the team fights. They know how to play well. So that's what you want to see. You want to see them take the fights. They don't get the win. Doesn't matter because they're still getting the points. And that is what's important.
And at home as well, the Pick'em Challenge is on in-game that you can be involved in as well. Down below me is another code for you to go and redeem, but be quick, be fast with those fingers, or maybe the copy and the paste, because people will put it in chat. And you can get yourself a voting coupon as well to spend. And then if you are correct on your team that is going to be winning a certain region, you'll get yourself a cool 100,000 esports points. But you're also getting esports points by having your Twitch account bound to your PUBG account here just by watching. But let's watch it now. It's game number 2 for Miramar. We're heading to Sims and Pansy.
Meow, Sims and Pansy. Meow. I don't know. It sounded like we were the map, but I got excited. I was like, we're heading to Sims and Pansy. What would our map be, Rich? Chinaris? Vibor? Cheeky bit of Vibor, mate. He loves it. Can't get him out.
I unfortunately just live in Pachinki these days, though. That's the thing as well. Like, if it were anywhere else, it's just Pachinki. And I know that you don't like it as well, but Pachinki is home. Pachinki is love. Pachinki is life.
Ugh. Disgusting. All right, west to southeast. I hate it. Yeah, I think the main takeaway from me is I want to see if Na'Vi can like replicate what we just saw, because that was definitely a swing up in performance. I don't want to read into it too much. Obviously, potentially that circle was great for them considering it was a Western circle, but seeing them on land, seeing them pumped up, seeing them fragging out, that's a big indicator for good things to come. If they can repeat it here, then I'll pay big attention towards it. Omicron wasn't as loud as I'd like. I'd like to have seen a little more from them. That felt like a circle where they could have done a lot more with, but just didn't seem to come through. Ooh, very different circle this time.
Yeah, opposite side of the map, and we do have a lot of water in play. This is where it becomes, again, the difficult scenario is that it's a limitation. There's a time limitation of you need to be getting yourself into a good position here. With Los Leones just been on the top, I say top side, it's not, you do have the top side of it, but it's still within, it's still within reach of being able to formulate some kind of a city ending or a town ending within there. Imlil is peppering one of the members of ETG. If he gets the shot, he does connect one. Want to see some more? We've seen these happen. They are a rarity. But you know what? He stands the test of time, at least for now. Decent game from ETG in the previous round. I think James touched on it at the start of it as soon as he went over to the desk with 13th and I think it was 10th at the time, getting the top 2 spots respectively. It puts good points on the board for them. It gives them a better foothold within the map. Base Clan, unfortunately, still staying their feet. It's not great. It's still 13th. I mean, after this game, we're halfway through pretty much. Excuse me, after today, we're halfway through, and yeah, I'd be very surprised and quite shocked, to be honest with you, if they were anywhere below 10th position. Things just haven't gone right for them when they're looking at certain points. They're usually the more aggressive team that you want to be afraid of. And at the moment, I mean, the previous one, I want to kind of touch on that. I say smoke wall, it was a smoke bridge. I mean, Na'Vi just literally building a path towards them, all the smoke's going down and formulating a line and then cycling the nades to get into a position where they could just bombard them and push them out. Like, no team in this lobby anymore feels like ready to fight. They're even, Froz was mentioning at the start with Northern Lights, where even them as such, they are this team that will sit in obscure positions, opposite end, looking for hard shifts, having lots of ground and lots of room, but if there is a team within that space that they need to push out, they'll happily do it. Liquid's another one where sometimes it does not pay off for Liquid. Now and again, a player will just go wandering off, or two of them, and they'll try and knock out a team. I get it, and I understand the idea behind it. You want as much room and as much ground to cover as possible, but it's how much commitment there is and how many players are going to die and trade off while doing so. With a map like this, excuse me, with a circle like
Archie.
this. Are you ready? Are they going to
Oh,
go over?
Archie. Oh, don't feed. Oh, that was looking throwy, Rich. That looked real throwy for Liquid. They're okay.
was just a little concerned there, I'm not going to lie.
Got a little throwy, but it's all right. They get, you know, teammate back up. They'll be fine. And the Pink Ponies, I think, are a dangerous team in their own rights because they have nothing to lose. It's merely just a surprise and an enjoyment when they do well, because they're a team that don't have a reputation by them yet. They've done well to get here, of course, but I don't sit there and go, wow, they're underperforming. I go, oh, they're doing quite well. Oh, like Vazku's driving. Very nice style points. And again, do want to highlight as well, I think Break is doing a little community stream where you can go and have a little watch party. If you do want to hear those dulcet tones and you're sick of ours, you get to hear him. Not sure if you want it. I just like to put it out there as an option.
For this kind of circle, I kind of want to feedback while the rotation are coming through, and if we do see fights and people pulling up, I'll instantly throw it over to you, Lauren, and you can run us through the action as it happens, and hopefully not James' driving. Seen better days without hair one. But nevertheless, with Los Leones, when you look at it, and this is why we're thinking topside at the start, that's really the only place that we can get it, bar the actual city center ending itself, which is a very far stretch. It's few and far between we do see them. I think I've only maybe cast 3 or 4 of them in while I've been doing PUBG as such. VAT going down. We'll make note of that while we do carry on, and also flush, so that looks like it's on transition also. But pretty much from the north, run it down the west to the bottom side of Los Leones, we tend to not have circles, and that's because of how the ridge line runs and encapsulates Los Leones. Liquid will be turning up unannounced, unfortunately. Everyone's just shooting it. Like, that's 3 teams they've run into now, is just peppering them at distance.
I think the point that Martin brought up is that people are very aware of certain teams' rotation routes, and as I said, Liquid is going to be one of them, but it's a very populated area. Look how dense it is on the circle. And Liquid are in more trouble now, as it looks like Offstream's probably going to get a decent shot towards at least one of them. James does have hard cover, but Clib could have copped a shot or two, but he's just fine. It looks like Liquid have decided where they want to stick their claim and stake their claim. I would say there is a couple of downsides to that area that they currently reside in, but you know what? At this point, take it. Bit of an Assassin's Creed attempt from Marv there. Fails parlously. Didn't quite add the star points I was hoping for, but WS are very close by, and I don't know how aware WS are of this, because they're still looking around here. Maxi seems like he's still in kind of loot mode, but I see a nade in hand.
All the information's been given. Fortunately, doesn't quite find the target. Marv will also be able to reposition himself if he does know the utility is being committed. Kemba's there on a very slight off angle, but look at the distance QB and Nail Path. QB only with the M16, but certainly a silencer on the front. It could be deadly. Range with a 4 times, even just the odd shot or 2 with a 5.56, so it'll certainly help him out. Double lethal nade in hand. Doesn't matter whatsoever. Kemba there, Offstring follows up. Marv and Ivers fall simultaneously back to back. Fortunately, the rest of Redline, well, they stayed their feet. I'm actually seeing damage done blue from bystanders as well, so QB's position has been noted. Whether or not they realize that it's weakened and a team could happily push up onto this, that'll be a different question altogether. Ira onto Huth. So there is some sort of response from TSM from losing a player early on, but once again, to kind of touch on 2 things that we spoke about earlier on, everyone's moving more to this right-hand side of Los Leones because of how those hillsides work. Northern Lights, they're doing exactly what Frost touched on. They're sitting out of the pack for now and just waiting to see if there's a possible northern shift. or God forbid, maybe even a hard shift over to the west, because that would be insanity. We can still get a big open amount of area towards the top side of Los Leones, all the way from north, even to be fair, up and around La Bandita and over to Impala. So there's a good few amounts of areas that we could be seeing a circle ending, but everyone at the moment is just banking on it going in that circular area to the right-hand side of Los Leones. It's very condensed. If there is a hard shift, it's going to be extremely hard to evacuate the situation. Even Tornado Energy have just stopped themselves and said, you know what? There's too many teams there, boys. Let's just pull up here and hope for the best. Navi all the way down south. Sauna Boys out towards the west.
Yeah, Navi just chilling. I want to still keep an eye on them considering the environment they're in that previous game, but for now I think they're going to do the classic Navi of turn up late. And I don't mind it. This seems like a CIS-dominated lobby today, apart from DA, of course. Should I say overall as well, keep an account, Tornado Energy, Northern Lights, if we throw them into the mix, then yeah. Wow, okay, Richard, what's happened? Richard?
All right.
Richard?
Okay.
Help! This is you. Go talk it through, bud, because...
It's like someone put land ratio in earlier, because that has just yoinked it away from the water. And now the mass scramble will begin. Northern Lights, they're a little bit closer towards the top side of Los Leones. They can get themselves a better position, but none better than anyone else who was stopped, really, on a northern way. As you were coming down from La Bendita, Pink Ponies, Tornado Energy, TSM can escape the backside of Impala. Sauna Boys, pick of the bunch for them. Take up residency in where you want to do, but try and hold a bit more forward. Don't go to the outskirts here. Don't go as far as, you know, La Bendita between there and Minas Generales or Graveyard, because we shouldn't go that too far. But these are the city center endings that we have seen. They're very few and far between. Whether or not it actually comes this way on the next push is a different topic of discussion altogether. Covering fire comes through from Tornado Energy, gets them all together. They're allowed to at least stay their feet while Pink Ponies goes on rotate over to the backside of La Bendita. They've actually got themselves a nice little compound on those long areas, the long bands on the backside, that they'll take up residency. And my question is, does TSM look that way? Does TSM realize that that is maybe a point of contact for them if they want to advance forward? Liquid, by the way, I just want to make you know, if you didn't catch it on the map, is going for a huge swing. They are over on the east coast. They're going up towards, I mean, they've actually passed the backside of Impala. They will eventually be skirting the edges of the blue, maybe coming in and around forward of Junkyard. Northern Lights, again, 2-2. Should settle up nicely for those so they can keep at least each side of the oil cylinders. Bit of high ground there. We'll be able to keep a track of FaZe Clan inside. Wander and ETG, this has been back building for quite some time. And honestly, I think both teams have just been trying to gather information on where the players are, because ETG is very split.
You're right, they are. I've just noticed Thenderloss is across the road, I think, in the petrol station. You've got, you know, people here and there. Might cost them in this. And it looks like TSM, Na'Vi, Ents, Redline are definitely paying attention to this fight. They're not too close, but could they steal a knock? Sure. They could definitely put a couple of bullets downrange and see if anything hits. Na'Vi kind of pulling in towards Impala now. I'm not sure what rotation route they want to go for. Forever does get flushed by Kemba in the vehicle. For now, Omicron as well, threading the needle. Pink Ponies to the left, TSM to the right. They should be able to, if they get past here cleanly, they should be good, but they're actually deciding maybe they want to pay some attention towards the Pink Ponies, and this could be a good spot. Yeah, quick turn. Vazku just slices the car into the building. Vampire's there, aims there, and yeah, they're actually getting these frags. This isn't good from Omicron. I'm used to seeing them being absolute monsters when they push in, but right now they're being manhandled. Finally, Vazku does well, but now the floor's on fire. And the Pink Ponies are making this much harder work than they expected.
And don't forget Team Liquid, TSM. There's a lot of teams that are listening on this one, Lauren. If they know there's action here and they know there's damage across both rosters, they may make a perfect interjection into this. They may capitalize on the situation. Aimlow's still no idea where maybe this final player is. It's T-Bone. Downstairs, level 3, grows to hand, doesn't matter whatsoever. Instant confirmation on the knock, but finally Jempty does show up to the party. Is he a little bit late? I don't know. Sub 50% HP. This is going to be a very, very difficult situation to win out. Health down, level 3 gear in hand. No. Unfortunately, Omicron yet to put the win on the board. They were in the top 6, and a 16th place will not be good for game number 2.
Didn't love that from Omicron. It's rare that we don't see them fighting well. I feel like that's one of their best attributes. These guys can fight. They are really good at this. And the circle has gone kind of the 50-50. Welcome to maybe a bit of Los Leones, the outskirts, that northern portion, that northern quarter where currently Northern Lights and FaZe hold. Shift W moving into home territory. We've known them to be pretty formidable in the city. So watch out for that. Chris already going to show off a little towards yellow, but there's going to be more coming, so it has to be careful. Beyond that, though, plenty of teams on the outskirts. This is going to be tricky. I'm looking at the area surrounding. A lot of compounds still there, but centralizing just isn't going to happen, surely.
You wouldn't, and I mean, it could just, like you say, it's not hovering over Los Leones directly, so this is where it's one of those 50-50s, and maybe the road just becomes ultimately people's graves. Webster is standing strong for now. Uber onto Yacht. Easy frag for him. Information fed back to the rest of the bystanders, though, so at least 1 point on the board for FaZe Clan. They need as many as they can possibly humanly gather at this point. Webster's still chilling, but clearly his position has been noted some time ago. At least you would anticipate it. The trade is there.
You.
The overpeak comes through. Finally, they can deal with it. Oh, Ned downstairs. Okay. TSM. The SWAT team has assembled.
Right. This doesn't happen twice. Goya just pre-firing. Here's the steps, right. Let's see what I can do. One. Yeah, that's it. One and done. No more to be found. A good attempt from the Pink Ponies being a nuisance. They held back Omicron, which is obviously quite a medal to pin to the lapel, but, you know, I don't see much more from it. So that's what it was, but I think the bigger point for me is that, yes, Pink Ponies did deal with the fight, but Omicron didn't win theirs, and that's a little interesting. TSM will take up residence in that area regardless. We do have WS still very much on the outskirts. How's everyone else doing? Where's Na'Vi in this? Am I missing them?
I believe.
They went all the way back down
just
south.
Come into the picture.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to try and make it up past WS and try and go for a bit of a wide swing on the east, but they opted to just go down south, and they'll have to come through the gauntlet that will be Los Leones unless they've got meds and they can just scout the outskirts. But if they decide to run west, you then have the unfortunate entrapment issue where they'll just be playing for the scrappy side of Los Leones. It'll become extremely difficult to try and formulate something together. I mean, they don't know this. They've only got red line. This is the quick replay from the previous fights that you saw earlier on with Omicron unfortunately going down in 16th. Like you say, it was a bit uncharacteristic with the
normally
the
they're
single
just
pushes,
incredibly
but
good.
Yeah, maybe expected a little bit more from in terms of hitting it together. Liquid.
Yes.
Could you have been gifted a bet? Like, you're out away from this fight. You are completely disconnected from everybody, and all of a sudden the circle has landed smack. It's given you that's a shining chance. Sauna Boy's perfect. Maybe two of them try and go for something else, although the priority compound in the middle would be phenomenal. Northern Lights, by staying away, by doing the same as what Frost was discussing almost exactly at the start, the backside of Los Leones, then moving out away from FaZe Clan, they have also been gifted a very strong compound. DA is going to get involved as well. For DSM, it's a very short distance to walk, and they've got gifted a compound. But now with the circle centralizing up, it'll start to pull away from there you would anticipate. And then we go into open field area. That's where it becomes very, very dicey and very difficult.
You're right. So let's look at the fights on the outskirts for now, unless someone crashes or gets early contact. We're going to have, on the outskirts, FaZe holding a little bit of the southwestern side. Towards the east, Ents, Tornado Energy, WS, as you're seeing Windstrike here. Windstreak, excuse me. Over here, Fex did just get caught off as well. That's going to be over towards the northeast. That could be recoverable. I think it was quite a distance, maybe a 300, 200-meter shot. Nothing too close by. Bystanders going to head right past red line. They are towards the south. This is that awkward battle in the south, leaving Los Leones. Kind of exiting from the northern portion of Los Leones. Can be done, but it's quite treacherous. As we're seeing now, FaZe very much proactive in holding this side as well, Rich. They want to keep this one safe.
They do, and the more bodies they can take down, the easier this will be. That's a lot of damage done onto that by two players, sub 50%. Beamy, unfortunately, does eliminate his teammate and makes it all that much more easier. They must have just crossed path, unfortunately. Flamey will decide to opt to run away. The 1-2 thank you from Uber comes in. Godney, job done. Yellow Beamy done. 3 points so far for FaZe Clan coming out of the bystanders single-handedly. Now the next target has arrived, but FaZe has been caught in a very uncharacteristic position. They're outside of it. There's no real safety net. And while this has been going down, many teams have decided to move a little bit further in. Liquid has gone for a 2-2. They've come away from the backside of the circle. They've come from the north down to the west. They can basically just bottleneck all these teams out now. FaZe is falling from a different angle altogether. This is DA is literally up on the last remaining mountainside, firing into FaZe Clan. They are holding all these people dead to rights.
Rich, I get to see Liquid, FaZe, and Na'Vi fight. It's like anyone who's watched the European sort of side of PUBG for many years will know this is going to be a good one. If they commit to this, that is. They can somewhat peel away, but you're going to get shots like this. Gustav finds Orange very quickly. Denya turns attention further away. This is behind them. This is towards Redline. Now, Na'Vi's a little worse for wear as Orange did get flushed. That's going to be on the back of Gustav, just bleeding out. But look at the terrain that FaZe are holding. Behind them, you've got Liquid pushing down with two of them. They still have Klib and Ibby further up north, across the other side of the road. They are proactively pushing, and James just backhands Gustav. None of that today, thank you. Get out of my house. Not having any of it. Fuzzface on the move, but he's got DA looking his way. He's got everyone paying attention. Look, he's a handsome man, but leave the boy alone. Tab's going to get him. And now we're going to see the FaZe has been eliminated. One of the earlier teams to go out. Brexico trying to make it work. That gun with the 3 times. A little tricky to control sometimes, but certainly no barrel. But this is a bloodied battle. Na'Vi have weathered the storm. FaZe got eliminated. And Shift W look like they're next on the chopping block. Ents are winning this fight.
They have the height advantage, thankfully, at least for WS that need to come across, and Shift W also. Excuse me, they don't have the height advantage. I do apologize. They've wrapped around Brexico and Kill You Kind, so they are actually on top. But with the man advantage that will be given and gifted from the side events, they could maybe even just opt to go around and avoid this fight altogether. It's also the first one to send it up on the side of Win Streak. Here's the vehicles. Now it's time to hit the car, but you've got a time limit on this one. Or do you just want to let them get away? Maybe you want this for yourself nice and clean. You've got a vehicle, but you've also got Ents behind. Presence has been noted. Finally, Ents has this point, but again, with 3 players surrounding them, Oshri and Kemba have all the work in the world to do when Diggory is just hitting a shot like that. You show your head, you show your hand, and he takes it off instantly. Clean, beautiful. Kemba, can you fare any better? This is a 1 versus 3 scenario, my dude, and this will be extremely hard, especially if Ents is feeling it.
Look, I'd like to see Ents roll it back. I always do. Whether or not it gets them further up the board or not, I don't really care at this point. But watching them play off like this is so exciting. But Isolated Diggory goes down. That's going to be Kemba all day long. And Mertz found Senya. Look at Na'Vi's ground in the bottom right there. They have nothing to play with. And Mertz just landed an absolute nuke on their lap. Na'Vi down in 10th, and that was gorgeous work from DA. And we're going to see Ents now suffering as well. They got too much attention. Too many eyes turned their way. And I've got to say it. If DA keep this up, they might just be controlling this circle. Tornado Energy, yes, they're still in this as well. TSM, back to the blue. They're trying to run in. Iroh trying to dodge every bullet. But even Neo might struggle at this point.
Ents... Diggory's actually fallen because of it. Ents just almost had a 1 versus 3 scenario on the hand. That was just phenomenal work. Coming out of Kemba, he did so much damage. Tixu is forced us to get in the vehicle and basically bolted into the circle. There's nothing you can really do here. Asked for the best of a bad situation would just be to try and stay alive and get away from Northern Lights, but there's such an open area, and so many people are going to be able to see it. DA have been having a whale of a time up here. Code Marco puts the nail in the coffin for Ents, and they go down in 8th position. Eventually, DA do need to make a bit of a move with them being so far on the southern side of this and a bit of an open run in front of them. They have to formulate something and a plan of attack. How do you tackle this one head on? You spoke about the nades in the kill feed. The bombardment onto Na'Vi was phenomenal. And I can't believe that, like, every team thus far has, in some way, some shape or form, had damage done to them by DA. Like, you look towards the Liquid Na'Vi face fight earlier on. It was DA's height advantage that was causing all that to basically unwind. They were just peppering in, not necessarily getting all the knocks, but causing so much noise and so much chaos, it forced the fight in front of them.
Like, this is surely the end of them. I don't know what... I'm actually not very familiar with this terrain, especially on the southern side of this road. I don't know if there's much for them to play with, but we're accustomed to DA going full send if they need to. I just don't see how they survive here. I'm sure I'll get my answer soon. Tornado Energy back to the blue as well, being kept humbled by the likes of Miraku, by obviously the Sauna boys. Okay, so there's the terrain. We got to see it. It's not much. It really isn't much. Okay, so they're just going to be doing covering fire duty while Smash and Metralius, look at the minimap, they're moving up. They're on the vehicles, they're trying to shift closer, maybe find that next step forward. Code Marco, just trying to lay in the fire, keep them safe. Same with Mert, off they go, trying to get a little bit further forward here, move up to the next bit of area, and this is safe, this is in, perfect. That's enough terrain, enough of a lip, a little bit of a hillside to keep them safe. That gets them in. Now, let's look at Tornado Energy. What do they do with this? They've got the Sauna Boys even closer to having vision on this, and look at that open field. This is not easy. Already Mexi's found Metralius, though. Clearly, this wasn't as safe as expected. Example, gonna get a little bit of fire through, but Miraku. Oh my word, it's like Velociraptors in the long grass. Can he stay still enough? No. Quizzy gonna just tear him limb from limb. Miraku's done. That's TSM down in 7th. Good ability to stay alive there, push through towards that later game, try and snake it out, but didn't really have much from it. Did Metralius get flushed, or is he getting res?
I believe he's been resuscitated, so he's back on his feet. Now, there's still options here for Metralius and Smash to be able to just kind of worm their way in and move it to a very, very small dip and keep DA's dreams alive. They've got 2 in there so they can recuperate. We'll talk about this fight, though, that's on our hands at the moment. Sauna Boys have just fanned out so much that they can try and keep Tornado Energy humble. They will smoke up and basically block all vision and all line of sight from the Sauna Boys and rotate around it. You can see the utilities coming through, and they're hoping. I mean, that's the thing. The real distraction is they've put it on the front. The nades are being thrown there from the Sauna Boys. If they fix it too hard on this one, then maybe, nope, denied, shut down. Sakura with a beautiful transfer, sprays on it. That's
love
2
it.
instantly just mowed down in the field.
That's so sick. He's above the smoke. He could just see enough. Just about. Using the elevated angle, using that high ground so perfectly. Quizzy has to hit the deck. He has to play prone here. Stay low down to the ground. And I want to see if there's any moves while it's happening. I think I'm seeing Liquid on the move. I saw them in vehicles. I'm wondering where they're going. They could have gone for a crash. I don't think that would be in the optimal time. No, they've gone for the bit of a compound, but we already have the fight. Nuki on the push out here. Sakura's gone and found another. The flush comes in. Nuki wants it on the action, but he's in the blue. But nice work from the Finns. The Finns are finding form today, it seems. We've had Ents coming through, the Sauna Boys coming through. Maybe that cold weather hitting just brings them alive. But the new circle, Rich, it's on the north side of this road.
It is, and it becomes unfavorable for DA. They're left out to cold once again. Batulin's crossed the road to get to the backside of Shift W, which will be the next point of contact for Northern Lights. The Sauna Boys can overwatch all of this. If they get a free shot, a free bullet, a free head, they'll happily take it. It's just points in the bag for them at this stage. Closest to the center of the circle, and possibly a little bit of a hay bale to work off the back of if they do need to go further forward. Team Liquid, you caught it on the map, Lauren. The slight early adjustment, it's paid dividends. It is limited, but the cover comes in the form of the road. With it arching up behind them, they do have cover from the side of DA, so they can tackle that head-on while basically not showing their hand to anybody else. It's going to be extremely difficult for Team Liquid, with everyone just hoping they make some kind of a mistake. But this trench, it will keep them safe for all but a sudden, so long as they're watching the wrap coming from Metralius and Smash. If they don't notice
I'm about
this...
to say, you think it's hard for Liquid? Look at DA, they've got to run the gauntlet. There's nothing across the main road. They're going to lose out on Smash. Metralius, Code Marco. There's nothing more DA could have done. Unless they had 50 smokes spare, this was kind of it. This is how it goes. And Mert, it's time to go full snake mode if they can. While this happened, Northern Lights took the opportunity to get across the road as well. Pull up towards Shift W. Now, this isn't a huge compound to be playing with. This isn't much area, but there isn't much in this circle. Liquid have managed to stay alive with 4 as well. Keep that in mind for late game.
Utility's been cycled, flashbangs through every single room one by one. They push, they clean, they sweep. I mean, they do have one lethal nade. Brexco with the double molly. Area of denial comes out to the right-hand side, so now they can try and pincer him either on the left. Or just wait the direct approach. Still checking behind him. A fan of that. You do have this one solo snake that will be worming his way in shield a bit slowly, but look at this Spyro Batulins. They're getting the angles. They're going for the vert nades. In the door, thank you very much. Double damage is done. The follow-up is there. Do we see a knock? Because if we do, you can damn well expect the push with the mollies in as well. They are just slowly but surely blowing them out of this building with another nade in. Up and over we go. The damage continuously. Surely one must fall victim now. How have they not gone down?
How are they alive? What are they made of?
Spyro, please put the nail in the coffin for somebody, and then you can make an advancement. This is just, I would say eventually a waste, but they do have to go on this eventually.
Brexico and Kilyakai, I do not know what your vest, what your helmets, what you are made of, but right now you are flash blind and you have nothing more to be said about it. Batulins there cleans up Now, while this began, you've got to keep eyes. Look at the Sauna boys. Look at the Finns. They're starting to make the move. They're starting to leave the northern quarter, that portion of the map that they've controlled for so long. Mert in full snake mode. The King Cobra is back again, just down in the ground. He ain't moving a muscle until he has to, but Clips found Anonymous. Here we go. Don't forget, Liquid are a god tier team. These guys have won international tournaments. These guys are the best of the best when it works. But the problem is, right now, it hasn't been working. Now they're in the middle of the field, and they've got Batulin staring them down. Probably have all the players here. I'd say, you know what? Skip Batulins. Give me anyone else. But Liquid have been held, and they've been slowed down. This could have been the chance for them to get in towards the Sauna boys. But they underestimated Northern Lights. They underestimated what that cross could do, but now Mert gets involved. Mert's going to keep the Northern Lights busy. There's so many battles being defined by so many different elements here. Mert just barely alive by the car. Spyro looking for a pixel out of place. The molly comes in, doesn't go far enough. Mert builds a wall as quick as he can. Is it enough? No. Nookie's got him. We're down to 3 teams now. Sauna Boys, Team Liquid, Northern Lights, 3 alive for 2 and 4 for the Sauna Boys. They've got it all to play with, all to work with. Cars still in plenty, but Spyro still a firing. Finds Nookie and Liquid. They're being kept alive by the smokes in their bag. That is it.
Do you have these vehicles? I'm surprised Anonymous is going so deep and he hasn't just pulled up to a hay bale. Yeah, I'm surprised he's hit this side of it. He could have gone for a hay bale, just built him his friends, and he's literally just built him a little barrier to work with. Team Liquid is holding on for dear life. Before they got a little bit bloodthirsty for me, a little bit of bloodlust, didn't put the smokes down and went straight for the cross onto the Sauna boys. They understand why. They can't come out now, can they? Well, without fighting him, at least. Maybe that's the whole idea and the whole plan behind it.
Potentially a second place. I like this. Now, if he just stays alive long enough, he's got a level 1 vest. His gear is garbage. But his positioning, his placement is enough of a nuisance that maybe he can live to fight another day. But Spyro above him is doing serious work. That is big boy damage coming out. Flash to hand. Goes up and over. Liquid might have found the gateway forward, but Batulins, he said no. This is sick work from Northern Lights. Out of nowhere, they are shining brighter than anyone in this lobby. Ibby and Jeems, though, still alive, still doing work, still doing damage, still putting up bodies. But how many are left? Just 1. It's only Jeems up against Batulins and Lou, and that is it. A 1v2 now comes through. Spyro's knocked as it stands. I don't know if a res is happening. I don't think it even matters. Batulins, a great game from the Northern Lights. And what an ending that was. That could have gone either way. But honestly, seeing the way they approached that, just them getting past Shift W, getting past so many different issues, and still looking so formidable, I see the logic between other teams as well, because I know what people are going to be like. They're like, oh, why did Liquid do this? Why did they do that? Because sometimes there is no correct answer. Sometimes you have to make the best of a bad scenario. And they went, you know what? If we can take down the Sauna boys, maybe we have a better shot at this. Because you can't crash Northern Lights. Northern Lights had hard cover there, even though it wasn't going to maintain for a while. I mean, I liked that game a whole lot. That was damn good fun.
Yeah, it was, honestly. I mean, you saw from Sauna Boys, they had that little hay bale stack that they could have worked off the back of, which they initially did.
Yes.
I think the whole process for Liquid was take that away from them. Don't let them get to that spot, because then we are completely locked in. I was stunned at the yeet across the circle at the end. I understand what you're saying, trying to get over to the Northern Lights and block them in. But when you have Liquid in such a strong position next to you, I see even strong position in a vulnerable position, excuse me. You think, okay, well, maybe we build a barrier first, deal with that situation, then go after Northern Lights. Utter chaos. You love to see it. It was manic. It was mystery, to be fair. But you know what? It was damn good fun.
Yeah, it was a great Miramar. Let's close it out with a desk, because we've got Erangel coming up not too far away from now. So, guys, what did you make of that final Miramar?
Good fun indeed, Lauren, especially considering we had so many ridiculous shifts of the circles, even early as well, as the first circle had taught us one thing, but then all of a sudden we were like, nah! Let's take a look at the highlights here. I'm joined by Avenger and Froz, as always. And Northern Lights, Froz, are like, nobody's having any more chicken dinners. We want them all. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah, they get themselves another one. I mean, question is how many are they going to have after this weekend? But in all seriousness, they've been playing this game really well. We saw them how they were moving. They were taking kind of an approach towards Los Leones in Circle 2 when we saw the first hard shift going towards the northwest there. And then they kind of moved themselves towards center, and they didn't make any moves they didn't need to. They knew that, okay, we're going to stay put. We don't need to move. This is a better spot to play from, and we can cover the spots in front of us for later on when we actually need to move. And that's how they played it. You saw how they were attacking Shift W very, very late because they knew that is not a good spot to play from. We don't want anyone else to be here behind us. So we're going to play here until late. And then when we need to, that's when we strike Shift W. And you saw how many utilities they wasted on Shift W. That was a little bit too much, maybe. Maybe a little bit practice on that. But else from that, good execution.
Yeah, I mean, they had the thought to hold it down. And Sauna Boys on the opposite end of that field kind of had a position that they could play out of here, Martin. However, some interesting decisions were made on their side to try and get themselves the victory, and didn't work out.
No, and they sent only one guy to make an approach onto this this kind of dip you have in front of the small concrete building that Northern Lights were playing off of. If you want to make an aggressive move, don't do it as one guy. Like, you have to go full force. And also, they're playing a worse position in a hay bale shack outside the big warehouse rather than playing inside the warehouse. I with a wall in front of them. I'm not sure what the decision was with that. I would have liked to seen some more kind of grouped up play from them rather than splitting up, and I want to see it grouped up together. They did manage to take down Tornado Energy very nicely and managed to survive all 4 guys from that situation. So that was very nice to see, and managed to get a good amount of points from that.
Yeah, the eyebrows of PUBG putting in work there as Nuki's able to kill them off on their entrance in towards that compound. And for us, as we're seeing some of these final moments towards these circles, I think what was interesting in terms of the shifts in these circles was even just circle 2 shifting as northwest as it did, really then scarpered a lot of the plans that these teams had wanted. They were expecting it to be maybe towards Pariso, maybe over there, but it really didn't go anyway that a lot of these teams wanted.
Yeah, and one team that played that super well in this one was Team Liquid. We saw them, of course, starting off in Picado. Then they got themselves to the East Coast. But when that shift happened, the second circle hit, and it was a hard shift towards the northwest. We saw them straight away going up north and taking that route all the way up in the north and then to the west, making sure that they had all the control. Then they were kind of holding the edge there, making sure that, okay, we're not going to try to let anyone else in. But they also managed, of course, to end up on the west side. So basically, they did a whole 360 all around just to get into a better position all the time. Only 4 kills for Team Liquid, but to get himself that second place, and it's an improvement. They had all 4 up until the late game as well, and that's what we want to see. One step at a time. Don't do the giant leaps.
Yeah, 20 points going Northern Lights' way. But if we can go more CSI on this, if we can zoom further into their faces on those winning moments, that would be fantastic. But there you
Preferably
go.
Nuki's.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. 15 points go the way of Sauna Boys. And there you go. The eyebrows of PUBG. Nuki himself gets himself 5 kills, along with Batulins. So despite not getting the win here for Sauna Boys, it's very needed points considering the previous position, Martin.
It is indeed. It's good to see how well they were able to kind of get the amount of points to kind of repel the teams in the north and protect that compound for so long. They got a good amount of kills from it. 10 was it in total, right? So a good amount of points for them anyway.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, we do have an interview ready with our winners from our first game here from the day. Miramar, and we had Squeaky on the line. How are you doing, Squeaky?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So first things first, obviously you came into that game in the first one, getting yourself the victory in the end. Those circles that we have on Miramar, when they're over that way, normally they end up kind of going up towards the top of that hill. How much were you anticipating the movement of those circles, and how did you see kind of the late game playing out?
When it shifted pretty hard to northwest, was it a third circle? When we drove to the warehouse, we had a good feeling that there's gonna be 2-2 split between the Pablo house, the north of the field, and then south of the field. So we were like expecting that they're gonna group to the south compound, so we will get freely to fourth circle because it's gonna southwest. So after that, it's just all about like, because we drove to the ridge north of the NLTs where they were playing in the shacks or slum houses or whatever you want to call them. So that was pretty straightforward that we're gonna play like step by that. So, but if the fourth circle went full south, it's gonna be a really hard game after that because we can't get that much info from the warehouse. So if it wasn't 2-2 split, I don't know what we could do. Maybe drive to the ridge, play one circle with smokes and cars, but yeah, in the end it played out well.
All right, nice. Martin, do you have a question?
Yeah, hopefully. Imagine if I said no, what would you do then? No, it's good to see you, Squeaky. It's also good to see you with a bit more hair. You know, it looks better on you, I would say. No, but I want to ask you guys had let's put it a less than mediocre week last week. What did you guys look at? Like you guys have put some time into wanting to improve for this week here. What did you guys look at and say last week? This was some of our biggest challenges last week, and what did you kind of want to try to improve for this week here?
Last week we played a little bit too fast for our own liking. That like we were been switching a couple play styles. And the last week we played too fast. We make the couple calls way too fast that in the end paid like maybe 7 or 8 points in a couple of games. So now we're just like taking it slowly and like thinking it truly before doing like sending or anything. And yeah, I think that was the most important thing. A couple games we played way too fast.
Fantastic. Patrick?
I'm trying to think of something good here. I don't know, but let's just go with this. So you guys like to play at Edge, and we have a lot of teams that is playing Edge right now. And of course, also a lot of hardships happening so far, both in the finals and the group stage. How is this affecting you guys, and how do you guys tackle this kind of problem?
Yeah, I think pretty much all of the players have realized that the circles are really weird. They can like end of the west side of the first circle. So that's the reason why like the edge thing is you need to be really careful. How do you approach it? And then because you said there is many people who likes to play edge, but there is like things that you can abuse pretty much. There's few teams that likes to do all pretty much the same things. It doesn't matter what kind of circle is. So you just need to realize that the teams are there and you can punish them, and you know that they are like split or something, so you need to just find a way that you're gonna abuse them.
Yeah, I have to echo that. I think the circles have been interesting this tournament, and probably will continue to be. Thank you very much, Squeaky, for joining us. Any kind of shout-outs before we let you go on to Erangel?
Yeah, thanks for all the fans who have been cheering for us, and we're gonna keep climbing the leaderboard this weekend, so hopefully we get top 6 by the end of this Sunday.
All right, thank you very much, Squeaky. Good luck in your games.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Good luck on Erangel.
Awesome stuff. That was Squeaky joining us from Ents here. Always good to hear from him. Always a great interview, to be perfectly honest. And so far, in terms of shakes of the leaderboards, they moved up quite nicely in our first game. Let's take a look at the overalls after this one, though, as Northern Lights, now with 3 chicken dinners, decides to say, no, first place is ours. We keep seeing that bouncing back and forth between Northern Lights, Digital Athletics, Tornado Energy. They've all put themselves and set themselves apart here so far, Martin, from some of the teams below them, with a little bit of a gap forming there between Tornado Energy and Team Liquid.
Yeah, somewhat of a gap, I would say, and also our middle pack is separating them on the other side as well. Like it's looking very easy for Ents now to get into top 4. Even it's 15 points. It's a good game for Ents and a terrible game for everyone in 4th to 8th place. Then they're up there. So our mid pack is looking bigger, and it's separating them quite nicely. Yeah, kind of scary if you're you're 4th to 9th, maybe 10th even at this point, because it's gonna be really hard catching up once we're at our halfway point.
Yeah, I got to agree. And as you can see here, for Sauna Boys, that was very important to get those many points under their belt. Yes, as much as they got themselves 15 points, it still only moves them up to 13th place here, Froz. So whilst, yes, it's a great opportunity for them now to start that kind of ball rolling, they've still got a lot more work to do. We know individually they're very capable of putting in the work. It's whether or not it all comes together on the battlefield.
I mean, a great example was in the last game there, how you saw how Sikoro was playing on the rooftop looking above the smokes while Nuka was going out on the flank. They are capable of doing these kind of plays, but what they're lacking right now, in my opinion, is that they don't have the experience. They're lacking someone with a lot more experience on the team, and you can see that towards the late game, how they kind of confused. They're not really sure what their next move would be, how to actually capitalize on their position there and taking that win in the last game. I feel like a little bit more, and they should be able to. They just need a few more games, experience that late game a little bit more, starting to realize, okay, this is how we need to play that out.
Yeah. Somebody's got to keep these Finns in line. There's too many of them. There's so many in the upper echelons here of the European region. I mean, of course, they're technically trumped out by Russia and Turkey in terms of representation, but Finns are right up there as well. And guys at home, you can be involved in the Pick'em challenge that is currently ongoing here for PCS, as you can see a lovely code appearing below us, and you can redeem said code to get yourself some voting coupons in game. So go and vote for your favorite teams who you think are going to win here at all of the PCS regions, and you can get yourself some lovely esports points to buy some lovely esports skins. They are cool. I love them. I love the SLR skin. I love the M24 skin. Do you have any particular favorites, Martin?
I think the SLR skin is nice, even though it has, a big grip for the kind of the left hand when you're shooting it, if you're a left-hander, of course. I like it. It's good.
I just, Froz thinks it's a big block of cheese. I think it's beautiful, but Froz, explain yourself.
Solid. I think it's solid gold.
I mean, it might be solid gold, but I never said cheese was a bad thing unless you're lactose intolerant. But at the same time, it is a skin, and skins are always nice no matter what it is.
Yeah, perish the thought someone here is lactose intolerant. Anyway, we have got Erangel coming up, gentlemen. Froz, sticking with you here for the moment. What are we looking out for Erangel? When you think back to what we had so far in our previous weekend of Erangel, what we're looking forward to here?
I mean, Redline is a team we haven't seen too much from in the past 2 games here, but we know that they play really good on Erangel. I'm looking forward to see if they can keep that up. We saw how they changed things up from day 1 to day 2 as well, from going day 1 to attack everything in circle 1 to day 2, playing a little bit more passive, but going for the fights when they can and have the upper hand, and that's what you're looking for. Grab those points when possible, and I kind of like that aggressive playstyle they have, because it's going to net them a lot of points on the way, even if they don't get the win, and that's the whole thing, right? But also, of course, TSM, we saw them last weekend there, how they got themselves 39 points. That was half of what they had when they started today. That's from 2 games of Erangel in the last day.
Yeah, I mean, this is the potential stomping ground of the big names here, Martin. Of course, as much as in the first day we saw Tornado Energy and Northern Lights getting themselves the wins, then afterwards it was Liquid and TSM getting the wins on day 2 here on Erangel. So maybe we can see more of the big names step up, right?
Yeah, Erangel is definitely the place to do it. We see more tendencies of the teams that have before been like the very high end of teams do well on Erangel because they're just simply more experienced on high end competitions as well. So we'll see how well they're able to maybe steal some of those wins.
Let's do it. It is our penultimate game of the day. Sims and Pansy, bring us the grassy pastures.
Happily. And yeah, looking forward to this one. And you bring up skins, and you didn't mention Break getting skins. We still have to be very thankful, of course, that we got gifted those beautiful, beautiful skins. I think it's like the only ones I still actually use. That and Jenna and Julian's. The M24, the classic. Yeah. Anyway, south to north.
Yeah, it's the gold ones for me. The good old golden ones for the previous PCS, like big fan. Even it's we've got so many skins now between us. Like how many different ones there actually is. I'm going to hold for a second though, Lauren, because it looks like there is potential for some arguments down on Sosnovka Island. I want to hop and have a look at ETG and Sauna Boys. We know we've seen some run-ins before early game. We had 2 maps last week of Erangel where they actually clashed on both sides of it 2 different days. So I want to see if the same kind of scenario actually unfolds here and they have a similar outcome. So far, it's the Sauna Boys that have been winning out these battles. But let's not forget that we do have the bystanders that are actually in Millie Base itself. So if they get kind of wind of this and maybe they smell blood in the water and they get good guns, because instantly, regardless of these settings anyway, regardless where you drop, you're always geared within minutes. It's just how it is. And lo and behold, we've actually got 4 teams over there. And the circle, well, it's been very kind to them. But I want to also talk about the coastline on the opposing side. Pink Ponies from, you look at Milter Town itself, and you go through farms, coastline again, even the Shagfin itself, you've already got one player in there in the form of Kilyakai. These boats that are going to be very, very vital. They may be in abundance now, but maybe not for too long if someone like Shift W just takes them and yeets them and gets across onto the opposing side. With having quite a lot of water, not just for a general island one, but when the circle's down so south, when you have so much water behind Sosnovka Island itself, you have to assume that we're not coming back to Erangel. I mean, there's no land to do whatsoever, so you want to be going deep within the island.
Yeah, absolutely. But back to skins, Richard. You know, imagine caster skins. What would you put for Kalaris's skin? What do you think would be the most fitting?
I think
it's tough.
Don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like I was thinking for Froz, like give him a vehicle skin, just like a really banged up car.
Smashed to bits.
Yeah.
Martin would just have a Danish flag. There'd be no question about that.
Straight Dane. Yep.
Just straight Danish flag. Maybe with James, just some glasses and the ginger beard below it. You know, I could actually join in there. We could have dual skins, like a little ginger pack together.
I mean, the ginger pack could be something. I mean, you could go full Game of Thrones, but that could have some, you know, DMCA qualities there. I'm not sure they'd allow that too much. But regardless, we'll come up with some ideas. We'll throw some ideas around. Brex goes up with a couple of ideas himself. Already gonna head over, just on his own as well. And taking the one boat. Not sure if there's one on the other side of the island. We got to see the one that he was heading towards. So hopefully Chris and, you know, Killikai and Zoka can actually do something. Yes, there we go. They're maybe gonna have a battle for it if they did go over towards Melt Away with the pink ponies. But who this looks good for, in my eyes, is the likes of Northern Lights. They get the radio tower side, which I love to see. James being very ambitious leading out the car with that gun, but no, he goes to the M4, no worries. But it looks like, for now, Na'Vi not known to gate camp, or bridge camp, should I say, unless they really have to, unless there's a full, you know, call for it. Orange isn't going to be shy, though. Still noting presence, saying, hey, don't think about pulling up here. Just keep her moving.
The question is, dude, alright, we know Na'Vi don't necessarily bridge camp. They're not notorious for it. Do ETG get involved here, or do Team Liquid just get across clean and easy? I think by looking at what we have information-wise, this is completely clean. All 4 players will get across and they'll be able to set themselves a nice bit of residency. Quepta's just falling back. He'll be able to get this information and feed it to the rest of his teammates that there is another team, and they have made it across safely. Again, if you do watch PUBG, if you do play PUBG, you'll know it's going to be Team Liquid. Gustav, 1-2, thank you. Emil, first person to fall straight out the back. That's a secondary headshot. There's 2 players in there that are around 25% HP. He has a good opportunity to knock 2 out here. That would be
Does he keep going?
Disgusting. One of them's the driver as well. That'd slow it down. Yes, you can seat switch, but there's a lot of work to be done. Thankfully, the meds are there. I can already see the bandies being worked on. Stims also, so they'll be back to full HP eventually. I mean, Vampire isn't, but then again, he is driving. Losing one player, it's never good. If anyone's on the opposing side with a sniper, that could spell danger.
It could. Now, Liquid have made it across. We saw them, you know, get across the bridge, and now they're heading past the Sauna Boys. And, Na'Vi Orange has 2 of TSM pulling up. Now, does TSM expect to have Na'Vi still in these scenarios? I'm not sure, but Cliv did not expect Sakura to have such a big chunk of vision on him, but maybe overlooked their Liquid fumbling a little at the start, and this is a position they often go to, that southern side, but it's already preoccupied. And yeah, this is great from Orange. That's going to be the first, but Iroh wasn't alone. There was another player with him, and I think it's Miraku, if I'm not mistaken. So keep that in mind. Not 100% sure. They might have actually just dipped at this point. Yeah, Vard on the way, Fex and Miraku. Yeah, they've gone. Right. Not sticking around for that. Na'Vi haven't crossed yet, so we should be good. Over we go.
I kind of feel for him on that one. Like, if I was Ira, I'd just be honest, just kicking myself and saying, what are you doing there? Like, why are you still here at this point? Na'Vi will be the last ones potentially to come across here, you know, the closest to the bridge, and they're still just standing back. Don't get me wrong, they have all the boats in the world between Prim and over by Ferry Pier. No one can get to that area yet, so all the vehicles, and to be able to rotate across is going to be fairly easy. But yeah, if I was Ira, I'd certainly be kicking myself and just wondering why a player was still standing there. Gustav is still lurking, the danger man, so far on the opposing side, disconnected from the rest of his roster. He's already knocked out one from a boat. Hopefully going for another one. Ivers this time. He's the one who'll be spotting the member of FaZe Clan. Whether or not they come back for him is a different question altogether. Stranding on an island. Not what you want to be seeing, but with how much Circle should be still in play, he'll be able to, I would have thought, swim across rather safely. Hence,
Yeah,
your Stalber boys, you know them boys, they are wandering down slowly but surely. Now the big question is, with Na'Vi regrouping themselves, does this spell disaster for someone like DA, who predominantly should just smash it into the bridge?
We'll see. Na'Vi, as I said, they don't normally stick around here, but they are holding ground for a while. Nail up on pickup duty, gonna hear the vehicles probably. And uh-oh, Gemty's about to have a look, and he's gonna find a lot of information, switches up to the barrel, just sprays him wildly. Literal fish in a barrel or a player in a boat, not sure if the saying really sounds as good, but the damage is excellent. Gemty leading those shots so well. Marv's dead in the water, nothing more to be said nor done. And Redline just having to pick up whatever's left and try and get out of there. If more shots come in, they are done for.
Yeah, just saw fortunate blood spray there, so there could be another victim. 1, 2, thank you. They've got to bail. The boat's on fire. QBE will eventually have to come up for breath. The question is, will they be able to catch him as he does? Crossfair seeing all this one and realizes, okay, the full team hasn't been wiped yet. There must be someone lurking and lingering, hanging back while the rest of them do move further and deeper through Novo. Rest of Omican, I mean, they actually might just go for him. They realize that QB is still in the water. Maybe they can try and keep track. They might just loop around and finish him off. If they do, they have to be aware that there could be another player, like, for instance, FaZe Clan lingering. Has Gustav gone in the water yet? I'll have to swim eventually, surely.
Yeah, I think Gustav's swimming as we speak. Na'Vi have made it across the bridge. They should be fine now. No one's really there to do much with. DA will have safe entry unless maybe Ents the timing lines up. Not sure if it will. Omican did lean a little towards the west there, and they got warded away by Shift W.
Pretty linear as to where DA and Ents will be going. The circle's been favourable to them. There's options for Ents to, even if they don't want to challenge the bridge and take that chance, they could just run it off those cliffs that are facing the back yellows and smack it to the closest point on the opposing side, get as close as possible. You would probably then get actually tanked by TE and generally any team there. That's always a thing that has to be in the back of your mind. WS potentially stationed on the other side. We'll see when that one updates. And we're actually going to be on that one.
Bug.
No, they didn't early. Excuse me. Yeah. I'm thinking, just trying to think where they are actually within the map itself.
Very
throw
far
me off
south in
track
a boat.
either way. Okay, cool.
I think.
Liquid
I'm not sure.
opt into center. Yeah, I thought. Hang on a minute. I've definitely seen them rotating earlier on. Why are they? It's just. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, seaworthy. They're down at the bottom end, towards the south.
Yeah, right. So everyone's going to be shuffling a little bit closer towards the center now. We do have the new circle coming, and Liquid have got themselves a great position in the military base itself. ETG are in there, bystanders are just on the other side. DA still just about making it in, and this is where they could potentially clash with Ents. Ents pulling up quite late. Of course, they were very far towards the north, and that's always going to be an issue for them. It is what it is with these circles. You play the game, you sometimes get caught out by it. Depends who's got the better meds now, really. Can you get yourself back up and well enough geared to go? And, well, DA are in a slightly better position, at least map-wise, to be able to kind of keep Ents a little further back.
I agree, but I don't know if DA is accounted for Tixu's position, which would suggest that he's gathered the information and fed it back to the rest of the roster. With Rustamar looking that way, I'd suggest that that's a very strong possibility. So having info, not to just go blindly running into this, and maybe keep DA patient, to be fair. Beamy just attempting to get it now, but didn't work out. It's this Uber is not yours, my friend. WS slowly but surely working all the way down to the south, and it'll be nice and safe for them, to be fair, because everyone else is centered up, gone toward the top side. So they'll be clean. It'll be pretty easy for them to get on and maybe get involved in the fight. This will be their first point of contact if they do run straight to military base. You can see some of that new terrain that came into play when they had the full overhaul. We don't really ever see it get in play because we haven't had many circles that actually allow for it, or any, to be fair, that really bring them in within a competitive environment. I'll hold for a second because Uber is dead. Did FaZe overstep the boundary, or did Northern Lights want to get involved?
Well, Northern Lights have been on the radio tower for some time. FaZe probably shuffled this way from Novo, so you're going to have a little bit of a clash. And it looks like Northern Lights just simply got the drop on Uber this time, but Fuzzface is very close by. They can both stay here. It looks like Northern Lights already wanted to shift slightly further south, already kind of falling in towards more the forest side of things where Liquid sometimes, maintain, but they'll give up a bit of the space. Spyro just doesn't want to die on his own untradeable, just kind of like a useless death. So he's going to head back over towards the rest of the boys with Lou, as Batulans and Perfectus are further south. They're just across the road. So at the moment, looking at what's left, it looks like Ents did opt to swim. So they definitely noted the bridge camp. They're well aware of DA's position. They've gone, nah, let's at least ensure 2 of us do get in towards that circle. It is a long swim, but they should be just fine. The rest of DA and the remainders of Ents are still in the blue as we speak.
Northern Lights opting to leave early. We spoke about DA kind of just standing by and waiting for Ents to make the first move, or first mistake, whichever way you want to cut it. 2 players, Squeaky and Rustamar, will advance forward, and they'll be doing the swimming game. Tiksu, they sit back and just hope the Diggery that eventually DA sends off first. So it's a bit of a standoff, if you will call it. And the only real benefactor of this is Na'Vi. They're all going to run into them, and they should be tanked up. Whether or not Squeaky and Rustamar make it across nice and clean, I'd assume that Senyu would probably fixate more towards the bridge and keep a track on that. We'll hold for a second because Omicron on the run. All these players that are going to be on your screens any second will be in yellow. Omicron and Tornado Energy trying to get off of the beachhead and move closer towards the grassy areas with the trees. Get involved in the foliage. Quizit. Information clearly in abundance.
See, these are hard shots to hit, but you'd hope for them to find a couple more. Oh, FaZe look weird today. They are definitely not the normal FaZe we see. 8C tries to commit to the shot and simply gets put right back. QBE might be in trouble just simply because of the blue coming in now. He was in a fine position prior to that. Now Na'Vi forced to fight the first men from Ents to make landfall. Rustamar and Squeaky did make it across. And now you've got Senya on the other side going, hey guys, I think there's some fins in our house. Help me out here. The sauna has been taken.
Uh-oh. This land is... Oh, Jempty! As if you spin on that, the power that just arrived all of a sudden, Shift W, they get a shock from nowhere. They thought they had the drop on them, but no. Omicron strikes, and it strikes well with 2 players down, and the bombardment will continue. Zoka, you can see in the off angle, does have the ball action. Whether or not it comes into effect is a different question. DA have run the gauntlet down low. We transition, we hop and skip. T-Bone goes down from a different angle altogether. Jempty will finish off Kill Yakai. First victim is gone, but there's damage on both sides. Zoka, again, still looking for that prime target. With them out of the fight, it comes down to Chris to maybe try and hold the line here. Metralius does fall. Na'Vi finally. They actually get some kind of victims that do want to come from the opposing side. Diggery and Tiksu, last ones to come across. Now, all of a sudden, Zoka and Chris have come alive. They are formulating a plan to fight back here against Omicron.
I'm amazed that they've been able to even have a fight from this. After those first couple of shots, I thought they were done for, but you can see Jempty is the only one actually standing. That molly is so close. Jempty is just about in cover. You can see now shots between the Pink Ponies and Tornado Energy. That's a flush and that's a peek. Nice work from Jempty. Another? No, the flash pushes him back into the angle. You can hear the pins being pulled. Shadow shows though, and he's got a peek on this. He's trying to play this so well, and he's actually got the element of surprise on one. Too many to handle. Oma can go down in 16th.
Zoka just inside the circle. If that had come in, it could have spelled disaster. DA did lose players, but you know what? They managed to get off of the bridge. They managed to get in. Behind Na'Vi. Tornado Energy, 1 player in the opposing side. A little bit of a split going down, though, and that becomes very problematic. Melman, the first one to be the first point of contact. Be able to get off the vehicle on top of the roof. Try and get some information and feed it back. One nice knock. Especially if they're in the Harry Potter Tower, he'll have clear vision into those windows and maybe able to bang one out, and then the rest of them can run forward. But the big problem for both of these teams is that once they do go forward, they'll have TSM in their way. Or will they? As I say, that Code Marco hits the world on Fex. Look at the falling damage instantly. What a range that was. To be able to do him at that distance with the spray in the vehicle? Holy hell, Code Marco. If he's He's feeling it. It's going to be dangerous.
Oh, bloomin' heck. Go, yep. Running a mad gauntlet right now. So many teams going past. You're going to see everyone being kind of pushed in together. Fuzzface is dead. This has been a poor performance from FaZe. And as someone who loves FaZe when they play well, I think they're some of the best teams. You know, when they have the good performances, it just feels very flat. I'd love, you know, for the guys on the desk to break down simply what's been going wrong, but obviously it's hard to make those assumptions. However, Code Marco, nice work from him, and Smash going to dive in as well. DA and Na'Vi, two teams playing very well currently, I'd say. DA obviously in second place, kind of tussling with Tornado Energy and Northern Lights. Speaking of Tornado Energy, they've got fights on their own fronts, and they are out in kind of no man's land, in the in-between, where Ents have kind of pushed themselves out. Jeems, where did that just come from? A little rocket in his pocket. He just sends it right towards the pink ponies. Nice work. That fire is still alive, just on the other side of the kind of fence that runs around the outskirts here. Gonna be prone down and trying to stay very much undetected, but I'm sure that Liquid will be keeping a close eye on this.
Spoke about it earlier. I mean, sometimes it doesn't pay off for them, but when it does, it pays dividends. Liquid is always a team that will happily just evacuate the safety net that it has and move towards teams to stop them getting closer. Like, ground coverage for Liquid is vital, and it's all part of the plan, and it works so damn well. That in itself is a knock-on effect. The dominoes fall, information comes through, and the pink ponies are eliminated. TSM, the final run, maybe. We shall see. If they hit the same principal wall as what the pink ponies had, then we could be in for a spot of bother. They have been noted. Vehicle is loud and proud, and a very open road here. You're going to hit this at a very tight angle if you do want to get inside. Actually take the tower instead. But look at that. The second they make landfall, instantly 1, 2, maybe even 3 teams have a full clear line of sight onto them.
Yeah, TSM won't be leaving this tiny little area anytime soon. That is their new home. They love it. They're very happy with what they got. Zoka, loving the prone along the fence, just trying to avoid attention, as Chris did make it in as well. But there's plenty of full teams just in front of them. This is going to be quite a brutal ending, I feel. There's a lot of big teams left in this. Northern Lights still here, looking towards the top, of course. Let's look at them. Northern Lights on the south side, on the wreckages, on the kind of... Oh, that fence just kept him alive. And Rich, we might get an ending you've wanted for a while. I haven't seen it either, but right on the airstrip, we're going to have a fair bit of attention. Liquid, Northern Lights, Sauna Boys, WS, TSM, DA, Na'Vi, all these big names still very much alive here.
It'd be lovely to see down that southwestern side. You have all that new swamp area with the broken down BRDMs. To see them come into play and to see all that kind of terrain put to good use would be an absolute treat. For now, though, it's survival of the fittest. When we look towards the north and the east, we have Na'Vi and Tornado Energy. Then we hop back actually inside Zoka, that, like, as a one-man ranger. How are you still managing? Excuse me, not Lone Soldier. What am I speaking about? I'm forgetting Chris is actually in the distance as well. So between them, actually doing the dirty here, and simultaneously they shoot, and simultaneously they do finally fall. Shift W goes down. Alia at distance with the Kar-98 ends the same trajectory path as TSM earlier. Again, presence will be noted, especially from DA. Remember, this is who was holding them and choking them to go point this time round. Now the question is, could we have a bit of revenge? Could the standoff transition to a different area? Let's not forget here, the second that N starts shooting towards Tornado Energy, in theory, this should be the go signal for DA.
Yeah, and it is for the bystanders as well. They turn their attention instantly towards that hillside, and they nabbed at least one of those points. Na'Vi adjusting, but they're still not safe. 3 of them alive. I don't know if the 4th made it. I don't think they did. Tornado Energy in a precarious spot themselves. Over by Big Red or Rust, whatever you like to call it. All there. Looking a little different these days, but example. Trying to be kept alive by smoke, but you can see that hillside has such good vision towards it. Now, I do want to see what happens to that DA Ents sort of weird battle and then throw Na'Vi into the mix, because now we've got a situation unfolding. Now we've got problems aplenty. Ents do have 4, but their position is very uncomfortable. They've spotted out Na'Vi and they lose. Tab with a big backhand towards Squeaky and Nate to hopefully finish what he started, but Tab's on for more. And if Ents aren't ready for this, they're in troubles. Even though Na'Vi are on the low ground, they can still do some incredible stuff. Diggory, quick nade. They've got at least one towards the right area. Rustamar, yeah, you see that nade damage flooding through. Na'Vi, barrage being thrown at them. Nade after nade. Diggory not too proactive though. Doesn't want to peek that ridgeline. He will silhouette, he will skyline a fair amount, but Na'Vi transitioning further forward. They have to get away from this blue, and they are forced to fight. They're forced in, and they're forced to their death. Diggory, comfortable, waiting, looking for more. Don't want to overstep the boundary, don't want to run over that ridgeline, but Orange praying for it. He's actually wrapped around the back of them. Maybe he could be the silent assassin, but DA waiting patiently on the hillside as well. As soon as Ents appear, expect those Turkish names to be on the correct side of that kill feed. And I'm waiting to see it appear, but it's not come through just yet. Mert's there, they're all firing, but Ents have got so many problems. Smash finds Tixu, and now Orange has to make his approach. He is in such a bad spot here. This blue damage is going to be vile for him.
DA have just been holding point, and that's because they have the high point, and more importantly, they have terrain to work with. There's a few little bits and bats of the metalwork so they can actually use to their advantage. They're ever so slight sandbag area that they can use, but now it's time to go. With 2 players standing, they've seen damage done, they smell the blood, they want to finish this one off. 1 man standing, Rustamar. Can you stand the test of time with 3 players bearing down upon you? This was a fight from the very start of the game. Both teams holding each other dead to rights, and finally DA put the nail in the coffin. Jeems goes hard onto Example. 1 player from Tornado Energy going down. Alia clearly trying to make a last resort, a last-ditch attempt, but unfortunately will be thwarted and held back by TSM. This could be another easy free frag for DA should they see the vehicle. Maybe the bait's just been used to draw these TSM players out. While all this is going down, let's not forget about the Sauna boys. They have been here from the very, very start. Went up against... they've actually gone for quite a slow crawl into this. I mean, the circle hasn't necessarily, I'd say, unfavorable from the very, very start, but certainly moving away from them, they have to work for what they've got.
Yeah, they've just sent it as well. They've just moved up. That's Liquid moving in. We didn't get to see them. Don't know why not. But there's Liquid trying to sweep through, but now they've garnered the attention of Northern Lights, who just moved up. You were right, they were quiet. They hadn't got involved, but now they are. Now they want in on this. They've got 6 kills. It has been a quiet 6 kills, but 6 kills nonetheless. Liquid just trying to stay alive. This is a battle of attrition at this point, and look towards the top. This is where I want the fight to be decided. Northern Lights currently lead the way, and they have a good position to play from, and a good couple of teams around them, a couple of bits and pieces here. But DA have that hillside, and that hillside is very, very critical to their success. Maxi is going to be found by the Sauna boys, and the Sauna boys control the vast majority of the south, kind of west, I guess you'd say. Very strong positioning too, but it looks like Smash has a good bit of vision towards one, but vision right back.
So this is the problem. It is a good position for now. The opposite polar end is that the circle moves away and there is 0 cover. My concern, do they have vehicles up there? Because you will need them to rotate. If you want to rotate off the back of that hillside, you just wander straight down, you're in all kinds of trouble. The Sauna boy is going to be at the footholds, just waiting for you to get into some kind of open area. Lay waste and it's job done, DA, if you don't have vehicles. And the circle is bad, then it should be good night. TSM's position, well, you know what, to say it's 2 little cabins or 2 little towers, it's actually paid off in central of the map. They don't have to do anything still. Yeah, they can stand there and stand the test of time, but we'll see for how long with Team Liquid on the opposing side of the road. Maybe Team Liquid shows hand eventually.
Oh, DA, right. Let's see what they're made of. This gets tricky. So, you can go down the hill, but you've got a Liquid fight, and you'll have full attention from everyone in the lobby looking at you on the way down. I don't know how many smokes they have. They've been in a lot of fights. If we could get on board with DA to see how many smokes they have, maybe, or vehicles. Okay, so they've got a couple of vehicles to play with. But do they have smokes to maybe give them some cover upon arrival? Or even on the route itself? Right now, 3 smokes with Mert. Lovely. That's not bad. That's enough to at least give you maybe the start. You want a couple more, but it's possible. If they could get a pick and then go, even better. That's probably what they're looking for here. If we could get a pick on the Sauna boys, right, that's a gateway through. Now, with 10 seconds to hit, yes, Northern Lights will have to fight ETG, but I feel as though they're in a superior position. They should win that fight. ETG, look at the cross they have to work with. It's treacherous. Yes, the smokes could keep them safe, though, so we'll keep an eye on both of these fights. These are going to be critical. There you go. First pixel out of place. Spyro spams him wildly, sees another. Batulins gets one. We're looking for the next. Spyro underneath the ice cream van, takes it. And nothing sweet for dinner for ETG. It's going to be Northern Lights moving up now. Now it's DA's turn. What can they do with this, Rich? It's a horrible spot to be in now.
It is, honestly. You just got to go for the vehicles, mark a target, and head towards it. They could end up, actually, to be fair to them, going towards Team Liquid's position. You know, it's somewhere within the circle. It's clutching at straws at this point, but really, what do you have left with the rocks in front of you? Liquid's already here. They're cycling the grenades for them. This could be some easy frags. If one just goes over the top, that could be 3 kills. They've just fallen short. So the Sauna boys will continue the barrage of bullets with one more player standing. This could be some easy frags for the Sauna boys and much needed when you're in 16th position.
Yeah. All right, Code Marco trying to get back on his feet, but here comes a bit of a nade. This is huge. It's so good. So well positioned, well placed. The Sauna boys are putting up a performance today, and we've already got a knock on Perfectix. This changes a lot of the dynamics now. TSM with 2, Team Liquid with 2, and it's the big boys. You've got the Sauna boys and the Northern Lights, but let's look at those positions. It's got to be the Sauna boys here. Look how much ground they're controlling. Pyro, they're dead, bro. They're dead. Leave them alone.
They're also dug in, and that's what's so interesting about this area. If they can literally just watch all the gaps, with Misa on the opposing side to deny people coming from the road side, they basically have their own dugout. They can just turret this, hide their bodies, go for the peaks. Obviously, you've always got to be careful of some disgustingly good bolt action or some just incredible marksman to ruin all those plans, all the best laid plans out completely. But putting Misa here and keeping him by that building has been so critical. He's been able to finish off DA. He can now keep Team Liquid back at bay and they can't cross the road and come further down the wall. TSM can't move. There's just no point in bothering and wasting your life. You might as well just stay your feet and see what you can do towards the end of the game. And then finally come over to the Northern Lights. Well, honestly, with 3 players from the Sauna boys here, they don't want to go too far because they are, you know, spread a little bit thin. But why give up this fantastic and phenomenal amount of ground that you have? There's just no need.
Perfectix made it further forward. That's pretty important. Now, he can at least stop them breaching in, but you can see at what cost this has come at. The loss of Batulins is pretty important. Now, Liquid are going to try and take this opportunity to move up, but TSM is well aware. James is not being subtle with this, but he wants the loot potentially. Now, the nade comes through from Nookie and it finds Lou, and we're going to see the Northern Lights now stuck. This is where we'll see if any of this, you know, that IGL magic that Batulins does have can come through. Is there any right call to be made here? Be cautious, careful, because there is a snake. Oh, it's not in his boot, it was in the grass, and now he gets booted down. Quick little trade out, though. Misa's right there. This is great work from the Sauna boys. They are everywhere on the map, but there's Perfectix. We highlighted this. We talked about what this position is. It keeps Northern Lights just about safe, but the Sauna boys are relentless. They are just pushing damage at the Northern Lights.
I understand what Sakura was trying to formulate, get behind and get up against the wall, and it gives them another foothold here so they can just watch basically 3/6 division of the map. Misa up top and then 2 down low, but with Sakura going down, that might spell disaster. There is potential here to get a revive off, but if Perfectix understands what's going on here, if they're committing to the cause of getting the res, then maybe he can punish them. Maybe he can remove them from this position and open things up for the Northern Lights and really turn things around. James is still been held by Misa. Misa's also falling back now. Remember, this becomes panic stations. You've been out there for some time. And now the circle has been rather unfavorable to you, so you have to move yourself, commit all your utility and get by. Vard should hear these steps. That's Nookie from a distance. Easy kill, easy frag. Thank you very much. But we spoke, you mentioned, about the IGL, and Froz mentioned it on the desk as well, and so did Martin. Can they keep this together? Can they work as a team? Is the leader there to formulate this final push?
The problem is, on the first peak, no matter where they go, unless there's utility, the Sauna boys will have the advantage because they're being proactive. Northern Lights, as soon as they get up, that first shot will go the way of the Sauna boys. Now, Bard could have posed a problem. He doesn't. And now they're surrounded. Misa gets full reign to close this circle in even further. And the Sauna boys have been surprising us. That Miramar game I thought was a one-off, but maybe not. Unless Lou, Spyro, and Perfectix can do something, this one's all but over, and it looks like it's time for that utility to come into play. The flashes come out, they're left with nothing. The vests are broken, the helmets are gone, there's no nades, there's no smokes, they're down to whatever's left in the mag on their gun. As you can see, it ain't much. The first peek, nothing there. Smoke comes out, looks around. Perfectix feeling bold, feeling brave, but I'll be feeling the pain pretty soon. Already on the cross there. There's Misa spotting out Lou. Good work from Nookie, and it's all down to Spyro, and death is imminent, and it's a great performance from the Sauna boys. As said, I thought maybe it was a one-off on Miramar, but if they found some really good performance coming into today, they could shake up these standings.
Honestly, it just felt like Misa was a moon just gravitating a planet, constantly just moving around the rest of them, sitting on its own on one building, then moving around where DA, Liquid were, denying all those teams, denying the final push from TSM, On the bottom side, the other three, they just stayed stationary. Misa once again then comes in to just basically pin them into a corner. So there's nowhere else to go. Like his maneuver towards the end there was hand in hand part of the reason why they won that. Having that one player left out rather than just being boxed in yourself into that swamp area. Fantastic map movement.
Yeah, love that. And I really hope the desk breaks it down in as much detail as they can, because I think that was very, very imperative to the way that closed down. But, you know, take your time with it, boys. Talk us through that first map of Erangel.
Thank you very much, Lauren and Sims. Yeah, we're back, and I have to echo the sentiments of, you know, where we were seeing Sonar Boys taking up position, you know, in the new Erangel. I mean, it's not new anymore, but taking that spot in military base where there is all kind of that new terrain, that little area where you can actually bunker on up. Very, very powerful position as they take themselves a pretty clean win here, Froz, to start things off on Erangel.
Yes, and this is what we were talking about earlier, right? That they didn't have the experience, but coming into this one, you can see straight away that they learned a little bit more. Not stacking up 4 and not looking out, scouting out what's ahead of us. What do we need to do? What's the next step? Be one step ahead all the time. And that's what they did in this game. We saw them going from a, well, first of all, they dropped there on Miller base itself. And then they were doing a 1-1-1-1 split, going into a 2-2, going into a 3-1. As Sims was saying, they had me scouting around, jumping back and forth, making sure that everything around them was just clear. There was almost a time when they kind of threw it. Almost. We saw that Sikora was throwing a smoke towards the fence, trying to move in towards NLT. He started running towards the smoke. He had blocked off the vision, but from there, he wouldn't be able to do anything. As soon as he would stand up, he would just get shot at. And we saw him taking a few steps out towards it and then backed off again. And thank you for that, because if they would have thrown that, I would have lost my mind.
Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, we don't want to see another throw. The last game was potentially a throw as well, but this was a good retaliation game, I would say. They played it out nicely, and also it's a home turf circle. You want to see the best of that as well. But I actually feel like their late game movement was very nice. They took a lot of control, they scouted a lot, they got a lot of information by looking there, by playing the circles as they were coming out, and took a lot of space from a very, very early stage. And then there was all the other teams that was basically fighting on the east side, fighting across the bridges and being gatekept a little bit, and all the teams that decided to play inside the military base that had to get out of there, that was having a really, really hard time due to the western circles.
Well, you can see here, DA was trying to make a send for it, but Misa, the Bloodhound, sniffs it out here. Froz getting a great little nade on. Unfortunately for DA, their row came to an end there. But Sonar Boys continued to play things on out, and having to deal with Northern Lights that were on the right-hand side, which actually is a big thorn in everyone's side right now in the lobby in general, because them getting more points, they're already ahead here in this lobby so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see NLT, they're playing their game up to perfection, more or less. How they're doing their splits all the time, making sure that they have the control. We saw them, of course, early on already having a 2-2 split, 2 on the south side, 2 on the north side of the airstrip. And then going into the later stages, when the circle moved up towards the north side, they would have 3 on the north side, 1 on the south side, taking that control, making sure they gather all the information they can. And of course, later on, they had to move in, they had to fight teams like Etiquette, etc. And that's how they do it so well. They know that they're gonna grab all those kills, getting all those points. 9 in total for this one.
Yeah, very, very nice. 21 points coming the way of Sonar Boys in total, and 15 towards Northern Lights. Team Liquid's keeping up though. 9 points go their way, and so is DA with another 9 points going to them here, Martin. So I feel like we're in a situation in a lot of these lobbies where the rich keep getting richer, considering what we've already seen here so far in the tournament.
Yeah, there's a little Robin Hood called Sonar Boys though. They had 21 points last weekend, and now they have 40 points so far in 3 games in this weekend so far. We have 5 more to go, so it's really good to see how well they're able to step up. Misa, the Bloodhound, is able to get sniff out 5 kills, if you may. Also Spyro, very nice game from her with 5 kills as well, and a nice split in the 3rd place with James and Chris and Code Marco sharing that. So that's it's good to see these guys that be willing to step up and get a lot of kills from this game as well.
Yeah, plenty of damage coming in from Misa and Anonymous as well, as they take number 1 and 2. Spyro, Jempty, and Perfectix will take the other spots here as things continue on. But in general, this being a military island circle, Froz, did cause some teams some problems. We saw a lot of attempts at boat rotations, which were met with hailstorms of fire, and some teams had a very rough time about it.
Yeah, and that's the whole problem with taking boats. Sometimes when you take them, you need to have the right timing for it. And we saw teams like Redline take it a little bit too late, and that's when you're gonna just get shot down by everybody. Everyone who has a chance, they're just gonna look back at you. They're just looking at free kills, and they're just gonna go for it. And that's why you have to have the right timing. You gotta know, okay, too many teams have already passed. We still have teams behind us. Well, we're better off if we maybe send one in a boat, and the rest is holding, and then they just swim across or something. Anything else than having 4 in a boat in that stage.
Yep, you're gonna get shot down. These players are too good. All right, we're going to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we return, it's our final game of the day here for PCS3 EU. Still waiting for the Lauren guess who. Just saying. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more game remaining here today for PCS3 EU. And so far, so good. Once again, we've had very varied winners across the day specifically, but up towards the top, aside from the good old Robin Hood, as Martin mentioned, of Sauna Boys doing well for themselves, we have some of our top teams really kind of making the gap evident up there. Northern Lights, triple digits, 109 points for them. Digital Athletics, 97. And then, what's up, Martin?
Wait, the whole left side is the same as the day when we started the day. It's only the right side that has moved.
Wait, that's from the match.
Match changes.
Tornado Energy was first, no?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? But it's match change. But all the other guys it's from one match is still funny. It's 8 teams that are staying the same throughout one match. You know, it's still funny, guys. Laugh, okay. Sauna Boys though, 61 points. That's talking to how bad they were actually looking before. You know, 40 points in these 3 games so far, and 21 points in 8 games in last week. Those guys have really improved from last weekend up to this one here. I'm actually really curious to know what they've changed and what thoughts has been going into trying to improve from last weekend on.
Yeah, maybe we'll get them for our next interview at the end of the day, because they've just had a blinder of a day. So great stuff by Sauna Boys so far. I'd love to interview the eyebrows of PUBG. And aside from that, not too many moves from this game, as you're mentioning, Martin. So that's what you meant before. because I was very confused for a brief moment in time. But that's fine.
Yeah,
Froz, looking at how things played out, of course, it being a military circle does present some issues for some of our teams here. We saw some teams trying to get across bridges, which was unsuccessful. We already talked about those boats. But for a team like Ents, for example, over on the west side, trying to get across that whilst DA's there, then DA gets across, and then you have all those situations up to the north where Ents is fighting in Na'vi. It's all very rough for some of those teams.
Yeah, it's super rough for some teams to actually be up against each other athletics because they're kind of unpredictable right now. We kind of see them going for cent sometimes. Sometimes they will play edge. And when you can't calculate where they're going to be, it's going to be hard because you always gotta anticipate that they might be in front of you, but they might not. And if they're just hiding, you might be running into a trap. And that's what they make it so well. They're just camouflaging their playstyle game after game after game and make themselves unpredictable. And if you're unpredictable, that's the best way to play PUBG right now. As long as you can just be able to gather up the results. And I mean, they can do it for sure. You can see them currently sitting in second place with 97 points.
Martin, do you agree?
I don't like. I feel like the sentiment of if I don't know what I'm doing, nobody else knows what I'm doing is gonna work. Like it's just gonna be like a pick and point, you know, like let's go here, guys.
To a lesser degree, yes. However, I kind of like what Froz is saying. I think like being a potential firecracker that is thrown up, able to do a lot of damage, but is kind of spinning around to a certain degree, can be a scary thing. But at home as well, don't forget the Pick'em Challenge is still going on, and we have another code for you, Bazaar, here to be able to utilize and get yourself a coupon in game, and then you can vote for which team you think is going to be winning in each of the regions, etc., etc. One coupon per vote, of course, and obviously we have a limited time use for that particular code. So be quick, go and type that on in there. And getting into our final game of Erangel, we are getting into things early, apparently. Let's go to Sims and Pansy for all of the planes.
We're here. We're going to be jumping into it. We're ready to go, even though, yes, it was, you know, it's snappy. They want to try and get this one closed down. I'm sure for some of the teams, they'd rather forget how today's gone. Certainly, a few names jump to mind, but some will want to remember this. The Sauna Boys putting up quite the performance, Rich. That's definitely caught my attention. DA still in contention as well. Northern Light still up there. Tornado Energy, perfectly fine today. Maybe not one of their highlight days. You know, when we see them go off, they go hard, but still a good day nonetheless.
Indeed. I mean, a 21-point game is a 21-point game at one point, no matter which way you look at it. These boys have been in 16th so far today, and now they're up in 9th position. Like, that is just phenomenal work, and it shows every other team, to be fair, what simply one good game can do. I am intrigued to see if we get kind of anything more towards the western side, with it starting up towards the northeast. Ents are going to be happy. This is kind of home turf to for them, so to speak. It won't necessarily with Northern Lights up there as well. They'll definitely have a little bit of congestion here, there, and everywhere. So they'll have to be very aware of it. Look again though more towards Sosnov Island. Like, that is just chaotic. The
Bloody
bystanders in melee base. Thank you very much. Job done. Fears have adjusted ever so slightly, and it couldn't be more polar opposite. I mean, look at, potentially here, Batulans is just off scouting near Nova. It's like, no, boys, no one's here. You're all right. You're on your own. The rest of them are safe. So a big old swing for him if it's not a slight bug or something, and he's all the way down there on his own. For everyone else, there's opportunity here to maybe try and take a deeper foothold. I'm interested to see what WS formulates with the Wanderer up on those really nice overlook towers that kind of watch down into Roshawk. That'd be a nice place to take. Yeah, he's just down at the bottom end. He's flanking. It's totally fine. This is completely to be expected. He's just monitoring the bridges, making sure that all the information's given back to the polar opposite end of the map. This is fine.
This is fine. He's okay. He's got his bathrobe on. He's ready to go. He'll be okay. We've seen him get over, bigger, tougher circumstances. We'll see how he gets on. Anyway, so coming towards the north does mean that the actual playable land is actually pretty sparse of compounds, buildings. The topography is there. It can be playable, but you look at it as I've called it, obviously the chicken tendy. More than likely, it will sit somewhere south of Severny, that kind of run across. simply because the river runs through the southern portion. The northern quarter is obviously cut as well, with water in it. So eventually you feel either maybe, at most, maybe Stalber, but even then, that means it has to go towards water a fair amount. So this does look like maybe a shooting range, sort of hillside ending to me.
There is definitely potential for it. There's a couple of areas around there, especially as you see the old dugouts downstairs, the bunkers that you can inhabit. There's a hill opposite, bang opposite shooting range that is very predominant of where I always remember FaZe Clan would always set up and scout off there or even work their way off there. So there's means to an end. Still a lot to do, especially when it's so far up and we've got, what, half of the teams already down in the south. FaZe are moving early, just so you are aware. I see vehicles in abundance heading across the bridge. There is a question in back of my mind, do Na'Vi bother to look this way? I mean, generally they don't even bother to look this way when Liquid's always coming across, so you wouldn't anticipate it happen now. In fact, all 4 players look like they're going to be on transition. Bystanders still staying their feet. Sauna Boys, same position for them, but a much harder circle this time round. Lots of ground to cover. Still plenty of time to do it. It's not the most abundant of loot where they're going to be looting all the way down the south, but you know what? It is what it is, and here we are. Shift W could go for a bit of a wrap. I'll be impressed if Senya lands any of these, to be honest. Going through the fields. The 8 times at the back of it. He's got the sight and he's got the scope for it, but still it would be a hell of a shot to do so. Squeaky as a solo player. And this is what you might get NLT on the opposing side as well. I mean, Smash DA as a whole are already looking for a place to call home. And this is kind of giving us some idea of how this game is going to be, Lauren. Like, get snuck in now, get a good foothold on the map, because honestly, space and territory is going to be nigh on impossible if it shifts again towards the north.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I want to see what DA do with this. I'm quite interested. They've got a good spot early on, so I'm sure they'll tuck themselves in, dig in deep, and just kind of hold the territory. But they're quite spread as well. They haven't gone for just that one specific area. So I'll be interested to see how they play this one out. Obviously, Ents get whatever they want. They were there pretty much at the very offset. Omikun going towards Stalber hillside. Bystanders still just looting away. Same with the Sauna Boys. This is going to be quite a, I feel like, a contrasting game. We're going to have two potential looks. The team's going to be kind of, shuffling and, rubbing shoulders just to get that big compound at the start. Maybe the little, maybe not known Leanville. That area just doesn't really work. But that little compound that's further down that has all the cars in front of it, that little, building is always quite a nice pick. Where the pink ponies are, where Omikun are, you can see the benefit to one over the other. And then we're going to have the late teams who are going to have to play very much for those hard shifts and hope for the best, because it could be quite tricky otherwise. So, as said, for me, curious to see who gets the kind of pick of the litter here. I think the teams have noted what we did at the start, is that this circle is going to be very tough and it's going to be a very small playable area at the very start. So it could be explosive, or we could simply have a lot of teams left towards the very end because they will shuffle into harder fought for positions early because there is only limited amounts of available area in a likely circle ending.
Everyone will just shuffle in and find their position here. FaZe Clan, fair amount of open ground between them. Currently just residing, or traversing through North Georgia Fault. Right, seeing Gustav hanging back just through West Town, but that could be just to gear up. See Gustav at hospital, so we'd have to assume that it definitely is to gear up at this point in time, just to finish up what they may have missed back on Sosnovka. We do have to be aware that in the distance there could be a fight kicking off between the Sauna Boys and the Bystanders. The Bystanders are just hitting the bridge now, but I can already see Flamey is out on a limb and looking for potential victims if there is anyone still alive and kicking over here. Vasco got out of the vehicle at the damn wrong time, and he has paid for it. Not quite with his life, but certainly with his car. That is terrible. That ain't good. Panic stations, and now that allows Mert to maybe even get behind him. Don't you do the same. Don't you do the same. Sikora's just gone down, which assumes to me that maybe Bystanders have shot him. Like, why else would you go down at this stage? Unless you don't have... Yeah, unless he doesn't have meds whatsoever. It's one or the other. He has no meds and he's just... So we'd have to assume that Bystanders have shot him.
Yeah. That feels like that's the more correct assumption to be made because of the positioning. The circle had only just come through, so he must have been taken quite low by the Bystanders as a parting gift, as they've made it across the bridge already. Navi's heading across the bridge by Georgia Pole. Recovery mission successful for Omicron. They get their buddy back with them. Be like, hey, don't do that again. And red line, would you? You would. Okay, Nailup's pulled into this, and Code Marco's just been killed. Alright, we've got some weird fights coming in. Lovely shots as well from Paige there. Finding Ivus. Asku gonna confirm what started. And Redline, this is an interesting pull-up. This could be shared, but doesn't look like Omicron want to be sharing at all. Oh, that nade. Oof. Good damage. Second to follow.
Page, run. Kind of two options, I suppose, off the back of this one that Redline have. Or had at least. Now they have to... Don't shoot your teammate in the back. That's just silly. They could have gone to the plateau. It's just above them. You can see on the roadside in the distance, it does kind of feature there. And they could have took the vehicles in and maybe just bear down upon these teams as they do come out eventually once the circle moves away from... If it moves away from them, of course. And it could go to Severny for all we've known. We've seen endings there numerous times. Oh my...
What?
Lord, that is...
What?
No land at all. What in God's name is that circle?
Batulin's Galaxy Brain just... He knew it was coming. He's like, right, I'm going to play the edge of the next circle. What? Okay, let's look at all the teams who are moving right now. FaZe, TSM, WS, Na'Vi, Liquid, Tornado Energy, Shift W. That's without going into the likes of Bystanders and the Sauna Boys. This is horrible. This is a straight 50-50. And the land is obviously the 50. It's not nice. This is going to be the mass migration. Everyone trying to move around towards the hillside. It can house a lot of teams. This comes down to, have you done your homework? How well do you know this area? For the likes of Ents, this is rolling it back a couple of years. They should be in prime position to do well here. This should feel like home to them. But whether or not they get there, yet to be seen. DA getting a good bit of fire towards them. Got to be careful now. Worse for wear. Smash next to receive a bit of damage. Well, now smoking, but still going to find his way forward. Looking ahead, Omicron probably quite happy they're in a good spot. They still are. They hold the coastline. Up on towards the hill, Tornado Energy. Shift W can just swing in. They have no problems now. If they go just up the hill a little bit, take their time, hell, Stalber could be theirs.
Shift W, Stalber could be a point of entry. At least to be able to swing off the back of it, defend it, and make sure no one else comes up this way, because it's a very clear transition point. Example on point. First bullet lands into Ira and they turn and face. Vard has opted to get out the vehicles and maybe tackle this one head on, especially if he can bait Example into fighting him up close and personal. With health down, Vard up with a nade. He does have support from Ira. The Mosin's out, but can it find its target? That's the question. The nuclear warhead lands. Vard on point, bang on. Example dead to rights. Nothing he can do about this one, but they still have death from above, and it's something they very much have to be aware of. They're not out of the woods just yet. Taking one is a piece of the puzzle, but the rest of them could be out for revenge. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing in the distance, Lauren, Shift W, they're edging closer to this. They want to get involved in the action. This could spell disaster for TSM. 249 comes round the corner. Yes, it may have been nerfed ever so slightly, but certainly up close and personal, it's going to be a devastating weapon.
Quizzy continuing to push this, though, is I'm going to put a question mark by it. I hope he's tradable. I'm assuming that Melman's position is going to keep them safe, but look at Kilyukai. He aimed far. Brexico's seen this. They've seen TSM first, so it looks like TSM is going to be in a bad spot pretty soon, wedged in between these two. Quizzy's gone and been found. Yeah, untradeable. I didn't like that positioning from Quizzy. Kilyukai can behead Miraku, but now everyone's going to scatter, scurry, run away. Iroh, run away! He's sticking around on this. He's 1 HP. This is rough from all sides. Shift W, though, using that high ground to perfection. Good needs to come through and going to keep everyone at this foot of the hill horrifically humbled. And there goes TSM, 16th place.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Certainly contact point when we're coming up that foothill side. Everyone else will just aim towards it. And when you've got people who are already above you, you're going to run towards the shots. It's as simple as that. You want to get involved in the action. I can see Pink Pony in the distance, and so does Melman. He's fallen victim to them, and they'll be the first one. Liquid is just idling below them down towards the south. Even Ents. You know what? Stuff it. Even Ents can get involved. Chris has overstayed his welcome, gone a bit too far. Should have stayed with the rest of the team, and by doing so, unfortunately, will fall victim. The Finns take an easy frag point. Braxco, nade down, damage done. Maybe they just keep going on this one, but they can't go too far. You can already see the tracer fire coming from the Pink Ponies. Does have some sort of an angle. Melman once again feels the full force of that. The SKS lets rip and puts him back on his ass. How many more do we have that need to come into this one? Okay, DA is slowly but surely working their way up, or down, if you want to say. They've actually been towards the south. They're working closer towards Stauber. Molly in. Will it disperse them? Should be in the corner, and it should at least tickle them to put them in a very precarious predicament. They're both on fire, and they're both easy targets. Bye-bye, Tornado Energy.
Okay, Na'Vi's turn. Time to run to where they can. It looks like Orange is going right near the Sauna boys. Now, do they commit on this? Orange is in trouble. He might have to. I don't think he's got much more to run with. Tab on the other side. Misa could have done with some of these shots. Let's see if the Finns can withstand again. Na'Vi, the first to fall, would be Orange. And now more pile in, though. You can see Etiquette. Everyone can see everyone here. The kill feed is going to be absolutely grotesque. But Tab has found Misa. Let's stick on board with this fight because Nuki's coming in as well. It looks like Na'Vi, or at least the Tab, has claimed this area. But look how vulnerable he is. Even with that touch of cover that he now has, it's so minuscule.
I think the lot for the Shack at this point. This stage in the game when there's so many teams alive, there's nothing else really you can do. I'm watching WS on a map as well. I'm seeing FaZe Clan have all turned their arrows and they're just facing that one. WS may be forced to actually run the gauntlet.
They're in the classic ditch.
The beachhead. Yep. But they're held back. There's nothing really they can do. If they take the coast, they have to go against Omicron, and that compound they have gives them so much leverage. You go further afield, you then got Batulins on his own. It's weird, but you know, whatever works at this point. Ball actions may come into effect. You can get one knock onto FaZe Clan. Maybe you push that as a team and find a kink in the armor and make it work. ETG rocking a hard place. Na'Vi behind you. Pink Pawn is in front. That's the Northern Lights just behind, looking into that, and there is the shot. All right, Maxi.
They've got to push it. They've got to push this. I'd love to go on board with WS right now, because if you've got the opportunity, you've got to push it. You get that knock, you press up. You can't let them keep that cover. They get the heal in, you're done for. So for now, it looks like Gustav will be back on his feet. 3, 2, 1. He should be back up. There it is. Here's off string, though. Straight away heading in. Fuzzface has the cross, but Wanderer's nade's done well towards Gustav. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but we know that AT was low. Kemba's position is good, and the nade's even better. This is good from WS. They saw the weakness, and they're going to press that issue. Now, the problem is, yes, you still have the one and only Ivan against you. This guy is an animal of all kinds, but he's surrounded on all fronts. There's not much more to be done here for him. I feel if he gets a good nade, maybe that could help. A quick kill would be perfect. There's the first, the nade gets the second. This is Uber at his finest, but there's so many eyes pouring towards him. There's nothing more to be done. 14th for FaZe. So let's look at who's in prime position here, Rich, because that circle has just adjusted. Oh.
It has, and it's homing on the Pink Ponies. Their position been pretty damn good thus far. ETG are at the door, and they've been knocking there for some time. Who's cycling the grenades, and with so much blood on the opposing side and so much damage done, he knows there's a few bodies that could be cleared up here for some easy frags. Northern Lights, the rest of them. Perfectix is actually rotating ever so slightly. And they do need to do this eventually because it becomes much more difficult if they go down towards the south. They are going to get sandwiched between all the teams that are already prime center. The Sauna Boys and Team Liquid playing border control. It'll be extremely difficult. That's backed up by Mexi and Jeems taking a deeper angle. Actually, an elevated line of sight. Win streak is finished off finally. Funnily enough, FaZe actually pick up a few kills while doing so, so the bleed-outs are there for them. Managed to get the tags and the knocks. The points will be there, and they need as many as they can. I mean, hell, coming into this 13th position and going down outside the top 10 again, this is just all forms of bad in the camp of FaZe at the moment.
Poor old Nookie just got absolutely blasted by a Scar. Not something I've said in a while, but, you know, we like a throwback. Not sure what Liquid can really do with this, as they're quite far back towards the, you know, further end of the circle. You've got the likes of Clib now moving up with Mexi, Jeems and Ibby kind of holding the extremities, and they're quite safe here. Now, if Northern Lights do go on a southern swing, that's where problems could occur, but we're not sure where Northern Lights want to go yet. Sitting in first place, I'm amazed they've been able to do so well, considering the Patulins wasn't with them, and now he's dead. Now he's dead. As, you know, they didn't have their IGL with them, which does actually pose a bigger problem, but I'll keep my eye on Clib for now. As Mexi did just get knocked, it looks like, so we're gonna see a little bit of trouble here. Clib, oh my god, that nade almost fell in his pocket. Bloody hell. Northern Lights, right, this is where they want to go. Do they pull up? Should be. This is a good place to pull up too. Tab is alone here. Now, yes, they're being watched, but they can find a touch of cover. Tab's gonna keep his head down in the bunker. All these nades, they're just pinging off the back of the wall. This is dangerous times.
because they've got people above them. Like, they can't tuck themselves in too deep, because if you do, you're just going to expose yourself. If it's not from the player in the trenches, it's the one on the hillside. Who does have an AWM, so if you can make that bad boy sing, you're going to be laughing and maybe just relieve a little bit of pressure, but you do need to tackle the problem head on, which is the tab. T-Bone and Spyro fall simultaneously. Different teams, different fights, and it shows exactly what's going on across this map, with Omicron unfortunately getting pincer between two different rosters. They have to tackle ends first. It's not going too well. Tixu responds. Vascu does fall. And again, from Redline, behind, they've waited them out. Omicron went first, and Redline just says, you know what? We've been waiting here for so long. We'll come in and we'll clean this one up. This should lead us, essentially, into a fight up against Redline and Ents.
Potentially, I'm looking at Tab. There is a chance he can 1v3 this. If they stay stuck in that corner, he could actually pull it off. Redline are moving in. Now pick whichever fight you prefer. Tab's nade didn't work out, and now he's getting nades back at him. He's left the, you know, the foot off the pedal for a little too long, and he can't quite keep them now cornered down. Molly comes in. Tab looks like he might be done for pretty soon. But over in the other camp, the Redline fight towards Ents is going quite well for Marv to begin with, at the very least. And now Tixu going to deal with Nail Up. You've got Diggory on the low ground, catch it down QBE, but it's Marv on the trade. Still so much more work ahead of them, though. Tixu making this hard work, difficult work. The smoke's creating almost a new bit of terrain here, a new bit of a layout. But the problem is that Marv is mopping up his teammates, and what can he do about it?
Position's noted at least. They'll just hold it for now. Hard peek it. Hope for the best if Marv comes this way. Should be getting a face full, unless Marv's just kind of waiting out and going for the res. QB's in a resable position, which is good, and they can try and even this number up. All Tixu's friends down and dead. He doesn't have to focus on that. He doesn't have to worry about that. He catches them while they're on the resuscitation, which he does! And strikes with perfection. Tixu keeps the dream alive for Ents, and more importantly, keeps the much-needed frags. Spyro.
Okay.
Still chilling on the hillside, but the rest of his teammates just on the opposing with... I don't know if you noticed as well, with Northern Lights earlier on, they took the vehicle before they actually rotated. They went to pick up the crate first, hence this is the reason that we're all geared up at this. But did Hugh just see him, or was he hitting the deck because he was low?
I don't know. I'm not sure which way that went down. Now, Jeems has got the higher angle now on the Sauna Boys. It looks like Liquid did rotate around. You saw earlier Clib trying to use the low ground to get close, and he might try it again. But Jeems' position should pay off pretty well. Nuki's going to be hard to clear out this corner unless they get nades in and everything else. But honestly, at this point for Liquid, you might need to be worrying about the bystanders. They still have the high ground on them. So keep in mind, this is from kind of east to west, high ground to low ground, and then the plateau where the pink ponies currently reside. So you're going to have a couple of weird fights, a couple of, awkward scenarios, and this is lovely from Perfectix. That's what you want to be seeing. Northern Lights now pushing that lead a little bit higher here. DA staying quiet till endgame, it looks like.
Time to get loud and proud.
Spyro, bloody hell.
Oh, you got 3 on here. I was hoping he was going to knock that one because they can actually focus on the 2 that are wrapping down low on him. That's something he definitely needs to be aware of. With Lou in the backup, that at least covers that, and with the blue there, they will at least fail on the scenario and the situation for now. Noki's still going strong onto Lou. That removes the level 3 and the big green machine from play. I think Ponies have been here for quite some time. Remember, they got in early. They've been shooting into various different teams. The question is there going to be enough ground to cover from here? The only problem that they will have if either of these fights actually end, they'll be held dead to rights basically until it all kind of comes to a head. And Team Liquid will wrap on this one. They'll hear the shots and understand what's going on.
Nice shots.
Is ridiculous.
He's having a big game right now. I don't know if that's going to be able to continue much further because Pink Pony's position now with that circle in combination is very tricky. They can follow the ridgeline around, but it opens up to Nuki and Jeems. So there is no easy option. But now we've got to look towards Shift W and DA. They have to move here. This is far more interesting. Ents shouldn't get a fight until they get right up towards the Pink Ponies. They find Paige and that's it. I want to look at DA's positioning in comparison to Shift W, as they're going to be in quite an interesting fight. Now, I'm not sure if bystanders have vision on it or how this goes down, but Tixu does need to run in. He can try and get close and be almost undiscovered. This will be the Northern Lights running that ridge line, but he's got to be careful to not expose themselves towards Nuki or Jeems.
Jeems actually just taking damage from it, so he's tickling in from the side. So he can't really go too far. With Club on the back, eventually we'll be able to show his face, but you can see what the idea is just keep yellow in trick so he doesn't loop back round behind them all. Tixu also has some kind of an eye into this one with him laying down. That could be a 1-2 and a thank you if it lands in the head. He's hit one. Presence will now be noted. If he falls onto yellow. A lot of scouts coming into play, Lauren. You've mentioned it. Maybe they know something we don't at the moment. The 5.56.
I'm interested.
I think it's a big, robust comeback after the old barrel meta, but we'll soon see. 4 times with the barrel in the hands of Spyro. I'm not a big fan of the 4 times up close and personal, but you know what? These players make that gun sing. Kill Your Kite finds all of DA lining up. 1, 2. Can you find the second? You absolutely can. Matrelius down low, but now you have to pick up the points. If he gets this third and final one, I will be mind blown. Oh, he just waited too long.
Oh, that really sucks. Okay, Matrelius, you've got the entirety of Shift W coming your way. Not bad on the first. Tries to reset on the spray. Gonna try and cast Zoka his life. Oh, this is looking whiffy. It's looking a bit throwy, Rich. Oh, Zoka's feeling weird about it. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Awkward times. You can see the frustration on Matrelius' face. You can see it all over the place. They are not happy with how that went down, and I don't blame them. Shift W died for that. But bear in mind, DA got, I think, 1 point from this entire game. Not exactly a huge performance from kills from them. This could have been a bigger statement, potentially. As Northern Lights still alive, they can do far greater damage and maybe push that lead further.
Tixu still holding to be a nuisance. Liquid gatekeeping bystanders. Don't want them to come much further than this. It just sounds like a beast every single time it goes off. 1 clip in the leg should do it. Mexi finds the weakened player and York goes down. Instant confirmation off the back of that. Beam it, wrapping low, or at least attempting to get a different angle, different avenue of approach if you can. Maybe even get in front of Team Liquid, but they don't want to do that. They'll try and cut that off and stop them having any advancement into the circle. Clib just hits the world. Beamy gets his face demolished. Now it comes down to Flamey as the last bystander standing.
Ooh, this is getting tough. What, 5 teams is it now? And the Pink Ponies have actually survived this, which is quite impressive. Now, whether or not they can leave. Let's see who can do the damage. We do have Northern Lights still here. Liquid just got destroyed on the other side. Excuse me, destroyed bystanders. So that nade finding perfect placement. Let's look at how many are left here. So Team Liquid actually still have quite a few standing. James is isolated, though. Don't forget that. He's a little out on his own, and it's for a good reason. The south side is being controlled by him. He still knows Nuki is in this goddamn building. He can't get him out. The blue will force Nuki to leave soon. This is why the nade is being ticked now. There goes the nade. Would love that to go through if it could. Ooh, Nuki. This boy is spicy today, but Spyro just found aim. So this is the Pink Ponies trying to leave this compound, and we've seen this being a problem. But Perfectix has gone down. Spyro's still alive, but doesn't stand. He's prone. Vest broken, helmet broken. Nothing left to fight with. Pink Ponies make it out. Now we're down to just... Is it just 2? It is. And as the Pink Ponies have made their position perfectly noted, aim... Desperately would like a revive, but I think that blue's going to catch him first. I don't know if this is the best of ideas here. No, it's not. It's a fumble. They could have maybe tried to change that, maybe go into a better position earlier, as Liquid now control the circle, Rich. They control 50% of this, and it's not even looking difficult for them right now. Mex is going to get the first port of contact. There's the first tag from it, but there's a player closer by. Goya has been undiscovered so far. He could potentially find Mexi, and if he does, it's game on.
The second Liquid ended with bystanders. They just started bolting it across the map to get into a better position to receive this fight. Goya does answer back, though. That's good. That's the start of building back something that could be almost seen impossible. But if you stay your ground, people will come behind. They will take full advantage of this. Clib is just ripping them a new one at this point. Goya has to sit down and hold to see if he can get him. He somehow does. But all of a sudden, the response is there. 9 kills come out from Team Liquid. And that is how you round out the day. A 19-point game. Team Liquid today have been looking absolutely dominant. And I've got to say it, like, every single time we hop on board with Clib, if he's not downing someone, he's constantly shooting everything. That man is just a magnet. If he smells action, if he's any kind of resemblance of it, they just magnetize straight to it. They get stuck in. They want to make sure they get these frags, but more importantly, the amount of ground that Team Liquid has time and time again is just phenomenal.
Remember, I'm glad that Clib is once again proving time and time again how good he is. People questioned the pickup. K-Mind was a fan favorite. People loved that player, but he is proving the difference that he can bring to this lineup. That firepower, as you said, whether it be just getting the kills or constant pressure, he's always very relevant. But the scoreboard, I think, somewhat will keep as it stands. Northern Lights should stay in the first place. I think DA were unable to make much of that game, and the highlights of their reactions very much noted frustration. But that's enough from us. Let's head back to the boys to break it down and wrap this one all up.
That's right, Team Liquid getting themselves yet another victory here on Erangel. They were able to pinch one when it came to our second day in our first weekend, and now getting themselves another one. In general, it's been a very consistent day here for Team Liquid. They've had a second, they've had a fourth, and now a first place here for us to get things rolling. So they're catching up to that top pack.
And what I like seeing Liquid, what they're doing is they changed up their playstyle. They're not going to just dive for middle, for the center anymore. Right now, they're playing a little bit more inferior places, but it works out for them because they can keep everyone alive and they can go towards the later stages and try to farm the kills. And that's what you saw in this game as well. Coming into Circle 7, I think they had 1 kill, but then they started fragging out, and I mean, they ended up with a win and 9 kills, and that's what we want to see. You want to see them keeping everyone alive. As we talked about earlier, baby steps, take one step at a time, make sure that you get one thing right, and then you work on the next thing. And that's what they're doing right now. It's great to see they're coming back to their former shape.
Yeah, it's not been the biggest fragging day for Liquid. 4 kills, 5 kills. Best of luck. Not happy here with how things have played out for Navi in that last game. But, these kinds of wins, Martin, in terms of having 3 days left over for Team Liquid, they're still putting themselves in a position where they can easily challenge for the championship.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do. Like, you want to be within pouncing distance of the top 3, top 4, the top 2 if you're in Liquid's case here, and be able to be within that one. And I feel like they're playing very well outside, like when they're not in leading, because they're putting themselves in situations where they're obviously getting a lot of points already, but I feel like they have that extra gear and they're willing to put that and use that, or not willing to use that until the last weekend. Obviously, you always try to play as good as you are, but I feel like they definitely have the potential to go in there. Very nice shot there from Clip, straight to the banging.
Straight to the banging, that's right.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's how they say it. I mean, Clib has just been an absolute fantastic addition to this roster. We've talked about it many times when it comes to halfway through 2020 and then onwards. And you can even see not only in those long-range shots for us, but even in these up-close and personal fights going down here, he was instrumental in taking down Pink Pony.
Well, you see here, for example, the 2 knocks he got there, it's impact knocks, impact kills, and that's what you want to see. Those are worth so much more than just being able to frag out, but in this case, he's able to frag out on top of that as well. So, I mean, it's a perfect addition to add to Team Liquid, because with that, they can basically just dominate if they want to. Once they start figuring things out, start over, it's just going to be an unstoppable force coming in here.
You can understand the frustration that we saw on Bestalosh's face when Teamer went out early in this game, and even in the last couple of games for Na'Vi, it's been a 10th place and a 10th place. So it's not been the best of days, but I'm sure that they will be able to bounce back through all of that. Team Liquid with 19 points up towards the top. Ents with another nice double-digit performance is going to start sitting them nicely in the middle pack here. And Pink Pony putting in some work here, Martin, over towards the end of that game.
Yeah, and that's it's super nice for them, to be honest. They had somewhat of a rough day. They got 10 of their 14 points today here in the last game. They only had 3 kills and 1 kill, 3 kills on Miramar, 1 kill in the previous game. So very nice for them to step up and kind of push themselves away from the bottom.
Kiksu and Diggity getting 5 apiece here for Ents, and that's where a lot of their points came from in this game in particular. So they effectively, in terms of, decent amounts of points, start the day, end the day how they started it, with Kiliakai, Clib, Effectix also showing on up here. And James towards the end in terms of the damage done. But one thing that I do want to kind of take away from what we've seen here today, Froz, is the fact that, once again, Northern Lights, 11 out of the 12 games that we've seen them so far in this final has been nothing short of a top 6. And then 8 out of those 12 games has been nothing short of a top 4. They are looking extremely consistent here so far throughout the final.
And it comes down to them being able to find these kind of edges where there's less people and they can play from that, and that's how they like to play. Look in the last game here, for example, how they were kind of playing on the center to the west side, but then you had Balin on the east side, and it was until circle 4 Balin didn't even try to get back to the team because he knew that there was no chance for him to get back to them. But they're able to keep everyone alive, keep on playing their game, and just keep on fragging out, and that's how they do it. They get to the late stage, and that's where they start farming up all those kills.
All right, well, we have our interview ready, and we don't often get a chance to talk to Sauna Boys, but here we have Sakura. Sakura, how are you doing, friend?
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah, not too bad here either. So you guys in the past couple of games have had a great earning of points here for today. Talk to me about, were there any changes from last weekend coming into this weekend? Because today's been really good.
Well, yeah, since we did kind of bad the first week, we really tried to focus on this week's scrims and the games we played, and also in our analysis of the game, and obviously it worked out for us this week. So yeah, changed our play game.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, it's gone well. Martin, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to ask, is there anything specific you can share here? What challenges did you feel that you guys had? Because it's a pretty insane step up. You had 21 points last week, and now you have 40 or 47 in just this day. So you're looking on the rise here.
Yeah, well, since we have the hot drop in Gatka, it really messes up with our rotations and stuff. But we gotta take it because we're never gonna give up Gatka. And this week we didn't have to go there, so I think that helped us a little bit, I guess. And also, first week we were kind of scared to take some fights and stuff, but this week we just said like, hey, we played against these guys forever, so let's just go and kick their asses.
That's great information.
Nice.
So looking at it, in the second Miramar game today, you guys got to the late game, but then you couldn't get the win there. You got yourself a third place. The game after on Erangel, you guys got the win. But from my perspective, in the Miramar game, you kind of misplayed it a little bit, but on the Erangel one, you kind of just played it totally correct. What do you feel like was the difference between the Miramar and the Erangel ending for you guys?
Yeah, well, in Miramar game, we definitely had a misplay in the end, and that's what it is. Sometimes it happens, but since we had that misplay, I think it helped us in the next game to win the game, actually, and not make the mistake. Even though I kind of almost threw the game in the last game too, but luckily my teammates were there to help me.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Sakura. Any final shout-outs before we let you go?
Nah, I just want to say thanks for everybody who's cheering for us, and I've seen a lot of Sauna Boys hype recently, and I hope you guys keep it up.
All right. Thank you very much, friend, and good luck tomorrow in your games.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well played, man.
Awesome. What a great interview. Thank you very much, Sakura, for joining us here. And thank you to Sauna Boys in general for putting up a really good showing today from the points that they were able to accrue. We can check in with the overall standings now and see what's happened so far today, because Northern Lights is once again continuing to set themselves apart. We've already talked about that consistency in placements that they have had here so far. DA 1 point away from getting themselves into that 100-point mark, but Team Liquid has put in work today, Martin, and is now catching up with their Miramar drop buddies.
They are catching up very nicely. It's getting extremely close here. It's actually gonna be super interesting here going into tomorrow. And also our top is separating them further. Tornado Energy is obviously still in it due to their amount of points that they had last week, but they need to step up their game going into tomorrow. They had 12 points so far today. That is not enough if you want to stay into the top 3 here.
No, definitely not. Unfortunate for them after having a great weekend earlier. Froz, what do you make of the standings overall?
I mean, NLT and Sauna Boys, they got 47 points each today. Liquid got 42. The previous record was from day 2 when TSM got 42 points. And that kind of show you how good Sauna Boys and Northern Lights have played it today. But Northern Lights, they've been consistent throughout every day so far. 37 points in day 1, 40 points day 2, 47 day 3 here. They just keep on going. They're getting more and more points for every day. So what's going to happen tomorrow if they got 47 points today?
Yeah, what is going to happen? We shall find out tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much does it here for our day 1 of this weekend. I suppose it's day 3 technically of the grand finals. But a huge thank you to everybody tuning in around the world. Thank you very much to Avenger and Frost for joining me here at the desk. Thank you to Sims and Pansy for commentating all of the action. We are gone. Tomorrow we are back same time, same place for more grand finals action here for PCS3. But continue to watch all the PCSs going on around the world. It's good stuff. We'll see you tomorrow for more PUBG action.
Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. 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 You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me